Rocket Sports Studios and another edition of the Weekly Video Recap. And that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another edition of the Hard Rocket Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful New Jersey. We are your 2-hour plus weekly get-together. We bring you all the big news around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, of course, the wide world of sports. Whoa, and the microphone just went bluey. Oh, boy. Boy, I don't even know how to fix that at this point in time. Wow, that's never happened before. Well, I don't know what to do right now. Oh, I guess put it down here. Hold on. Let's see. All right, so welcome to another edition of the Hard Rock Sports Show. So we are 2-hour weekly get together. We bring you all the biggest news around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, and of course, the wide world of sports. And happy New Year to you all. I hope you're hearing me clear. Maybe I will try and get this mic stand fixed in the next few minutes. But in the meantime, I hope you guys have had a great week. It's been a good one down here at the Florio residence. You can see I'm wearing my Tommy Cutlet shirt. That's right. Today is a morning of a day. Yes, the Giants have announced that Tommy DeVito will not be starting Sunday, and I have some issues with it, good and bad. We'll get to that. We'll talk a lot of Christmas. We'll talk about the New Year. We'll talk about some of the bigger stories from this past year. Sports, music, politics, and everything in between. And in the meantime, we'll try to inform and educate you the best we can. In the meantime, there's only one way to start a Hard Rocket Sports Show, and that's by bringing on my partner in crime. And hold on a second. Let me try to fix this real quick. Hold on. Ah. Okay, I think we're back up and running now. All right, that's much better. Hopefully you can hear me better. And again, let's bring on my partner of crime, Mr. Jeff Butt Cutlets Talwinski. Sir?
You know the deal. It's not that, man. Tommy Butt Cutlets. It's always been. I am the star.
Again, the guy on this side of the screen.
John Collins right now is on hold.
He is.
Waiting to come on to set the record straight if need be.
You can bring on whoever you want. I hold the buttons, my friend. I hold the buttons.
Doesn't matter. You don't hold the buttons in the comment side. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Okay, hold on. I got you.
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, I hit the mute button. Let's get to the show. We got lots to talk about.
Tommy Cutlets, he has crashed and burned.
Well,
that T-shirt you're wearing right now, you could probably get 5 of them for what you paid for one.
We'll get to the Tommy DeVito story, and my first time I will officially disagree with a decision by Coach Dable, but we'll get to that. Ty, right now, you got other stuff to talk about, so let's start off the show the way we always started off, Jeff, and that's by saying, Jeff, how was your week?
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, you're on vacation.
So that was good. That made it good right there.
Oh, that's nice to hear. All right, well, listen, if that started your week off good for you. I was an entertaining weekend of football. I disappointed by the play of the Chiefs. Sort of disappointed by the Giants. I thought they made a rally. And frankly, I thought the Giants were kind of robbed. There were a couple big calls during the game that I think went against the Giants, including a pair of pass interference penalties on the last play of the game that should have been called. But listen, it doesn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered much. But I was happy my team didn't fold. But we're going to get to a lot of NFL stuff tonight. How was Christmas at the Tomwinski house? I know you had your house on New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, and then you went to your parents on Christmas Day. How did all that work out?
Good.
Traveling was okay. All that stuff was good.
Yeah, it was good. It was as good as you could expect, right?
Okay, all right. That's one way to put it. Yeah, we had a great Christmas Eve. We started nice and early. Usually, Christmas Eve at my mom's and dad's starts about 5. And by 8 o'clock, people are starting to run a little bit toward the door. My mom's getting a little tired. She's had a very long day and a long week. But we started early, 2:30, and we ran till about the usual 8 o'clock. But it was great. It was stretched out. Food was fantastic. The company was great. It was probably the best Christmas we've had in a long time. That's nothing wrong with the other Christmases. This one was just that much better based on how long we spent together and the fact people weren't running out of there. People weren't tired from a long day. So, and Christmas Day was a long day at the house and all good.
Good.
Got myself a Tommy Cutlet shirt. One of my sons got me a Tommy Cutlet shirt, so I was pretty happy with that. I always want to represent my team.
Save the receipt.
We have no problems here at the Florio house. So we back up our teams, good and bad.
Listen, and you very well should.
That's
you
right.
Very well should. It's your team just benched your boy. That's all.
Well, again, we'll get to it.
I'm glad they did. And
all right, go ahead. You're pressing the issue, so go ahead. I'll let you carry it. Go ahead. You want to run with it? Go ahead.
Yeah. Because it's about time. This kid should have just shut his mouth, went out and played, did what he had to do, keep that fucking moron fucking agent away from him on the sidelines, stop doing his shit, and just go out and play football. Okay? You had a good chance to possibly become the starter of the Giants, I feel. And you brought too much attention to what was going on while you were on the field. Just that manager alone, that agent alone, you got to be kidding me with that. I would have turned around and told him, listen, you want to go to a party, Christmas party dressed like that? That's fine. Don't show up on the sidelines of a Giant game like that. Please, you're embarrassing me. That's one thing. Second of all, Tommy Cutlets with his fucking hand gestures, you know what? He made himself a laughing stock before he even got his career off the ground. You had a very good chance. I don't believe the Giants are sold on Daniel Jones. I think that if you went out there, you played hard, and you played good, you would be in the running for possible be the starter next year. And I think that he ran himself out of that position for just those things alone. I think you became more of a gimmick than anything else. That's what
I disagree. Okay, it's a fair observation. I won't argue any of it. I thought the Tommy Cutlet's passing Paisan was overdone. I don't think the kid fed into it.
Not all on his fault, though.
That's my point. Just my point. I don't think it's all him. I think people around the Giants. I think people in the NFL, New Jersey especially, have run with this whole thing. Undrafted free agent, the Italian kid from Jersey. Listen, and I think and rightfully so, Cashton. Listen, this could be his 15 minutes of fame, Jeff. He could be.
Yeah. It very well could, but you want to know something, Tom? He did something that Daniel Jones did not do. Okay, and I know that you're a big Daniel Jones fan.
I am a Daniel Jones fan. Yep.
But I want to get to it real quick so that I could tell you. I'm just waiting for it to load. Daniel Jones played 6 games and threw for 909 yards. Okay, and attempted 108 passes. Tommy DeVito played 8 games, attempted 176 passes, completed 112 of them to Jones's 160 to 108 completions. Daniel Jones had 909 yards. DeVito had 1,087 yards. But the bigger thing was simply this. Daniel Jones had 2 touchdown passes in 6 games. DeVito had 8 touchdown passes in 8 games against only 3 interceptions, where Daniel Jones had 6. Now, I ain't saying that he would have led the NFL or become the next Brett Favre or Tom Brady in the NFL, but he definitely could have had a chance to go up against Daniel Jones.
I still do. I disagree. See, I don't think what he did on the field hurt his chances for next year. I think the Giants are going to go into this offseason with the thought, we'll bring in a veteran guy, whatever it is, a Jason Stentham or, one of those, kind of, Trevor Siemian type guy. But I think Tommy DeVito will go in with the thought, he might not be designated, that he will be the number 1 backup next year. I think he's earned enough. He's worked hard enough. He's shown that he's got NFL talent. I don't know what that talent will bring. But Jeff, I don't know how much you watched him play. Maybe highlights. Maybe you watched some of the games. I don't know, but I watched every snap. I would tell you that I don't know what kind of abilities he's got long term, but the guy never looked like he was overmatched. So to me, I think the Giants want Tommy DeVito to be the backup. I think there's a chance Tommy DeVito could start the season next year if Daniel Jones isn't healthy. Daniel Jones will be the Giants quarterback next year. They may draft one this year. They may take one in the first round, second round, with an eye on, well, if Daniel Jones, think of it this way, Jeff. Let me run this scenario out. Daniel Jones has 3 years left on his contract, right? Yes. We're going to get to him, Frankie. Don't you worry. We're going to get over there in a minute. Don't you worry. But Daniel Jones has 3 years left on his contract. After next year, Daniel Jones' contract is not guaranteed. So the Giants could theoretically have Tommy DeVito and a rookie quarterback on the roster next year. If Daniel Jones doesn't play, falters, plays like shit, whatever, he could be gone after next year. You'd have Tommy DeVito as a third-year player, and you'd have a drafted rookie, I'm assuming maybe a first or second-round pick, as a guy on the bench who could then step in. If Daniel Jones was to play well next year, and they would go forward with the other 2 remaining years of his contract, well, a undrafted rookie would be in his 4th year, just like, the kid in Green Bay, just like Aaron Rodgers was, and could step in at that point where you wouldn't have to give Daniel Jones the next contract. So there is a scenario where Tommy DeVito and a drafted rookie quarterback could both be on a roster with Daniel Jones, all 3 competing for time. So I don't think Tommy DeVito's killed his chances. I think that, and here's what I was going to tell you. I think Dable screwed this up. I think Dable, there's no reason to not play Tommy DeVito the rest of the way. Let him go out there and see what he's got. Unless you've seen enough, which I don't think you have, I think the kid needs more time.
Well, listen, he's an undrafted free agent. Of course, he needs more time. Not because he's an undrafted free agent, because you only threw him out there and he did what he had to do. Here's my thing, okay? He drew too much attention to himself. You didn't let your playing.
But that's not his fault.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Okay, he didn't let his playing speak for him. Okay, he went out there and he played. He did a few hand gestures, and then he took the ball and he kind of ran with it. He didn't turn around and try to downplay it. He didn't turn around and say, "Listen, I'm here to play football. Maybe I shouldn't have done that," or anything of that nature. He played into it. You got that like I said, his agent or whatever that guy's name is. I don't know what he was thinking. He looked like one of the kids.
But that's how the guy dresses. They went back and looked at his social media. That's how the guy. That wasn't because of Tommy DeVito. That's just how the guy dressed.
I understand.
I thought it was ridiculous too. He said, "I wear a fedora in honor of Frank Sinatra."
Listen, it's just everything. It was the overall look. He could wear it because he's honoring Abraham Lincoln. I don't care. Yeah. Okay, he's connected to this kid. And everything that anything that you do on the football field, both on and off the football field, translates into the media. And then as soon as you make a mistake, that's it. They'll be all over you. Now, I just feel as though that it brings too much attention to his off the field stuff. That's all. That's all. He didn't play. He played better than expected.
Sure.
But does he need to up his game to be there full time?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. No doubt, Jeff. 100% of money, yeah.
But he also had a good chance. And listen, them benching him for Tyrod Taylor, I guess it's more for pride at this point in time than anything else. They must feel as though that Tyrod Taylor gives them a better chance to win the game, not so much to be competitive. Because at this point in time, what are you playing for other than pride?
No, but see, here's what I think it is. And this would be the only thing that would make sense to me is you want a chance to at least evaluate maybe some other guys or some of the guys that have been playing. You know, Jalen Hyatt is their number 3 draft pick. And the last 3-4 games with DeVito, they haven't targeted the guy. So maybe bringing Tyrod Taylor in gives him a chance to get a little more experience for a guy who might make the offense run a little bit better. Now I thought DeVito did some nice work back in the Packer game. He was great. I thought in the Redskin game he did really well. You know, he faced 2 good teams. You know, the Saints are an okay team, and the Eagles are a top 2 team in the NFC. And you know, he didn't fare well. I don't think it's a surprise. I think that the only reason I would want to see Tyrod Taylor playing is to give the chance for other people to shine for the last couple of games. To me, winning these games is meaningless. It's about next year. To me, I would play DeVito and give the guy a chance to keep getting better. That's what I would do.
I don't think at this point in time, I'm not saying you want to go out and tank and make it obvious, but winning doesn't really help your cause at this point in time.
No, I don't think it's about.
That's why they're going to win in the last 2. You watch in huge fashion too.
I will get to the Jets in a little bit. I want to get my dad on before it gets too late. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to end the show as we always do. It'll be the Jeff's celebrity death list or dead list. And we'll do that. And then right into the Raider report, and that will end the show. So stick around. We got about an hour and 40 minutes left. We got a lot more to talk about. We're going to get to all the things that happened this year. I got some metal stuff. We got some sports stuff. We'll get into the big stories of the year. I'll ask Jeff in about 5 minutes what his thought is the biggest news story this year in America. It could be politics, could be sports related, music related, whatever it is. I'm going to ask Jeff what he thinks the biggest news story of the year was. I'll tell him mine, and then we'll break it to a bunch of that. We'll talk about the NFL playoffs and anything else that pops into your guys' minds. We thank you guys for sticking with us all year, and we look forward to the next 2024, which in July will be celebrating our 10th year to doing this show together. So thank you to Jeff and everybody else, my dad, and all the people who support the show on a weekly basis. And speaking of my pops, Jeff, let's get my dad on and see what he's got to say. What's up, Pop?
What's up, gentlemen? How you doing?
How you doing, Mr. Florio?
I'm very good. Thank you, Jeff. I agree with both of you. I think the guy, the agent,
yeah,
that was I kept thinking that he was a fan. I never knew he was an agent.
The first time I saw him was on TV, and I was like, what? I'm thinking it's a goof. I think that somebody ran on the field and he's got the whole lip. And then it came to find out that that's his agent. Now, subsequently, the agent screwed up. And DeVito, he's still handling his contract, but Tommy DeVito's has hired a different agent to handle his publicity and his events and stuff like that. So that guy,
one of us could have did better.
Well, I would just say this: that is the legitimate way the guy dressed. He just won like Chicago Italian Man of the Year. Was voted Italian Man of the Year, Italian Sports Man of the Year, something like that.
From Brooklyn somewhere.
Whatever.
There's 3 Italian guys in Brooklyn, in Chicago. You know that, right?
It's very possible.
I know. If you want this if you want
women
to represent you, that's not. But get back to DeVito, Tommy.
Yeah.
I think he's a nice boy. I don't think he's anything near NFL quarterback. I think he's a
I
third
disagree
string
with you,
back.
man. You know what, Pop? I'm not disagreeing that he's not a starter, but I watched
I
the
don't
kid
think
play.
he's even a backup.
He's better. You know, he was better than a lot of guys I watched play this year. I'm not telling you he's all world or he should be a starter, but I didn't think he was overwhelmed. I didn't think that he played terrible. He only threw 3 interceptions. He threw 6 touchdowns in the limited time he was out there. I don't think he was great, but I don't think he was. I think what he showed was he could be a competent NFL backup. That if you needed him to win a game or two or start a game or two, he could do it. I don't think he's on any more than that.
I don't think he's. I think Taylor. Then my big question to the coach of the Giants: why'd you take him out at half? I think that was the worst thing they did. He wasn't hurt, so you're telling me you got. Who starts Saturday? I mean, who starts?
It's Taylor starting. He's already announced it. Taylor's going to start on Sunday.
How are you telling me? Either you made up your mind already.
Oh yeah,
he's good. He's gone, or he's going to be the backup.
No, again, I don't think anybody's going into the delusion that Tommy DeVito is probably the starter next year for the New York Giants. I think it's more about is Tommy DeVito. Again, he could be the backup next year and a week 1 starter if Daniel Jones isn't ready. Daniel Jones will start for the Giants next year. There's no doubt. His contract is there. They're not getting out of it. They may draft a quarterback. They may bring in a free agent quarterback. I think it was all about seeing if Tommy DeVito could be the cheap alternative and a good story for next year. And I think that's what I think Tommy DeVito will be on this roster. And unless they come up with somebody who's much better, maybe they draft a kid, unless he's much, much better, I think Tommy DeVito will be on the sideline next year as the backup. Now, is it turned into anything more than that? He may turn into a 10-year backup for the Giants and bounce around the league. But I think the guy's got a chance to at least stick around in that capacity. But I'm surprised also that Dable didn't start him. And I wasn't surprised he took him out because he was in over his head against the Eagles. He was in way over his head. And I think now, right, but I think it's about giving, what you don't want, Jeff, is the rest of the team to be like, we got no chance to win, and everybody kind of fall apart the last couple games. You want everybody to at least play for something. At the very least, you want to put something on tape for next year, whether it's for the Giants or another team, Jeff, where people say, hey, that guy's a good player. Let me throw money at him. So I think you want something for the guys to fight for.
Yeah, of course. And, listen, Frank's coming up with some good ones tonight. Yeah, any one of those guys that goes out there and plays any given Sunday, whether your team is 1-16 at this point in time or 16-1, should be playing for pride. Sure. And just because you're on a team that's not the best, that doesn't mean that you're coming back to play in the NFL again next year. Anything can happen at any given moment. So these guys, they should want to play and make every game be impactful in every game for themselves. Because like you just said, you never know what's going to happen and where you might end up. So you're going to want to have a good resume on film, without a doubt. Right. I agree with that.
Yeah, so I think that's why that he went to Taylor in that game because they actually wanted to beat the Eagles. I think it would have been a huge thing. But theoretically, there were 2 bad penalties in that game that cost the Giants a real good chance to win it. There was the one, right before the half, Bobby Okereke was holding the ball a little long. They threw the flag, and they were able to kick the field goal. The Eagles had no timeouts, and Hurts didn't jump out of bounds. And the second one was a offsides penalty on the center, which was a ridiculous call, and it cost the Giants a big play. And it attributed to them not scoring touchdowns and winning the game. And also there was a huge pass interference penalty on Barkley in the end zone. I mean, right in front of the referee. They didn't call it. So, again, I think they wanted to win that game for a lot of reasons, but I think it's about evaluating players the rest of the way, which is why Taylor's playing. It's up. Right, Louis Pica? Would you agree? So that's what I see, Pop.
All right. Let me go. I got to help your mother set up the tables.
That's right. That's right. She got the big lunch tomorrow.
You got the big Yeah. Watch what you say. She can hear you.
I'm not saying a word. I still expect to get right.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right.
Well, we gotta go, Pop. We gotta go.
Tommy, I'll talk to you over the weekend. Jeff,
You
wish
got it,
you
Bob.
and your family.
Have a good New
Happy
Year,
New
Mr.
Year.
Florio.
And to all the people work with you guys. Take care
Thanks,
now.
Pops.
Talk to you.
That's my dad. He checks in every week. And Louis Pico, what I was saying was the reason Dable pulled the veto in that game because I think the Giants really wanted to win that game and break the streak and screw up the Eagles a little bit. But I also think that the reason that he's sticking with Taylor at this point is to get a better chance of evaluating the talent on the team, playing some of those guys that need to play. The Jalen Hurtses, Paris Campbell, maybe. I don't know. He's been a healthy scratch, but getting some of these guys real reps with a professional NFL quarterback. And DeVito, I think he's going to get his chance in the offseason and next year, but I think that's why Dable made the moves. I don't know if you'll agree or not. Please be at the hall at 6:30 p.m. Okay, he told me 6 o'clock last night. So Louis, I'm curious if you agree or disagree. Again, the Giants are playing this weekend, and they're playing the Rams, and there's not much else to play for, Jeff. And we'll see what Louis has to say. Hold on, yeah, I don't know. I know. Yeah, I know. Jeff, let's talk a little about the Jets. Well, you mentioned it. The Jets have a chance to win their last 2 games of the year.
Oh, no. I didn't say they'd have a chance to win their last 2 games. I said they're going to win their last 2 games. You know why? Because it'll be just enough. Just enough. It's like going to the doctor and he tells you that he's going to check your prostate, but he needs you to back onto his finger. Instead of him putting his finger forward, he's going to make you go backwards onto it and impale yourself on it. So that's what the Jets are going to do. There's a great big finger, and they're going to back onto it and ease it in.
Yeah, listen, listen, I'm a big fan of winning football games. I don't think you do anything well by losing. I think it creates animosity in your fan base. I think it creates a culture. I say you got to win every game. I don't ever want my team to tank or lose. I certainly don't want them to win 6 games a year, but to me, and I agree, Louis. I think Dable actually wants to win. Definitely wanted to win the game last Monday. He wants to beat the Rams this week and the Eagles at home the end of the season. I think that would be huge. So I understand it. I would play DeVito, but I understand the thought process with Tyrod Taylor. But I disagree with this one. I think you gain more out of playing DeVito and seeing what he's got in the biggest position you can have, which is either starting quarterback or your backup.
Tom, well, I'm yelling. Can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. I keep hitting this button for some reason. The Jets, okay, it was a win, an ugly win against a bad team. I was watching in the first half. They were up big. I tuned away, and then I saw a chat. I don't know if it was you and Marhefka or Frank Jeffrey in the. Somebody said something about they're going to blow this. And next thing I know, it's 28-27, and they got a chance to lose the game, and they wound up, I guess, kicking a field goal and putting that out of reach. But,
First of all, that wasn't – let's go back a little bit to what you said, that you said that it was a victory over a bad team.
Yes.
Yeah, a bad team with a victory over another bad team. Bad teams, good teams, let me even say this. Good teams don't fuck up 27, 28-point leads and let it squander away with seconds left and then have to kick a field goal, okay? Maybe a good team is up 14-3, 14-7 going into the fourth quarter and then falls behind by a couple points late in the game. But when you're up that high, you should have been fucking cruising, okay? Especially since Breece Hall had almost 100 yards rushing. It quite evident the guy was able to do whatever he wanted with the football, 100 yards receiving, almost 100 yards rushing. I don't understand. Once again, another fucking Jet disaster. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, listen, I agree. And, again, I'm not a fan of losing games. You go out there, you play them, you win, you lose, whatever at this point. There's a good chance they're going to drop out of the top 10. I mean, I haven't studied. Yeah. They're at number 9 right now.
The Jets, half the fucking knuckle brain, and you should write this shit down right now, okay, to see where you can refer to it. What is this? December 28th.
Yep.
Okay, 7:30 at night. Half the fucking knuckle dragging Jet fans that are out there are going to want this team to go out and win another 2 games so they can say that they made progress over what they did last year, which is total bullshit.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, total bullshit. Where the Jets, if they had Aaron Rodgers on the team this year and he did not get hurt, this would be a playoff team, because we could go down the line of all of their wins and losses this year. They would have had another 4 or 5 wins.
Yeah, it's very possible. I won't argue that.
I feel as though that without Zach Wilson on the team, they would have won another 4 or 5 games this year, without a doubt.
You know what? I would even venture to say, had they brought in a competent backup to Aaron Rodgers, you still probably could have made the playoffs.
I gotta venture and agree. Matter of fact, how about this? Nobody knew this was going to happen, but look at fucking Joe Flacco playing like the second coming.
Which is an indictment of your team, only because last year he looked like he was done 3 times over.
The last 2 years.
Yeah, and this year he goes out there and he looks like a man possessed. And is it also Joe Flacco found the fountain of youth, or is he playing in a better system with a better coaching staff? I got to be honest with you. I think the main problem the Jets have, and one they can't fix, is Nate Hackett as their offensive coordinator. I'm sorry. He has done nothing to make any of his quarterbacks better. He has done nothing.
Nathaniel Hackett wasn't there last year.
Was
not there last year. So I gotta say right now, right off the bat, before you get too involved with that you can't blame it all on him the last couple of years. I'm
just talking about this year.
I know, but this year, without a doubt, he has to shoulder some of the blame. Yeah. This goes to show you the problem of having a defensive-minded coach without having a top-notch offensive coordinator. This is
very true.
Perfection, because Robert Saleh built up a good defense, has pretty decent special teams, but his offense is offensive. And if they had somebody who knew what they were doing, okay, it would have been completely different. Even Aaron Rodgers, you already shredded up your Achilles. Why in God's name do you want to go out there again next year, try to play, and take a chance with Hackett's fingerprints on anything? You're 40 years old. One more, let's say he shreds his other fucking Achilles next year. That's it. Career could be over. Never mind.
Of course. Yeah, of course. I would think if he hurts his Achilles next year, I would think it's for sure it's done and over with. But listen, the reason he's here is because of Hackett. I mean, he's here because he loves this guy. He's got total faith in it, and he thinks that that's the guy who wants calling plays for him. Again, I'm not telling you that it isn't going to work. It may work because Rodgers is back there. And Greg, to your point, I only disagree with one thing. When I watched Flacco play last year and the year before that, he was horrendous. He looked like he was made of concrete, and he moved about as well as a 1,000-year-old man. So I thought him being there last year was embarrassing almost. Maybe it was because of the Jets. Looking at him now, it looks like he's been sprinkled with the fountain of youth. So,
do you know what they said about him on ESPN today?
What did they say?
I didn't get the guy's name. Okay, so I couldn't even tell you. So please don't even ask. Sure. They started talking about the Browns, and they asked, "Who's the most dangerous team in the NFL right now?" And the guy responded, "The Browns." And he said, "Because they're getting hot right now, and Joe Flacco has been playing like a house on fire." Okay, so what did they do? They start talking about Flacco and how come the Jets didn't call him and what he did last year. And they turn around and they described him. He has an arm like a howitzer. What happened last year?
Yeah,
he could do this. He could do that. What happened last year and the year before? How come he didn't do it then? It was just unbelievable. Like, this isn't somebody that they took and replaced with somebody else, is it? It's the same Joe Flacco we're talking about, no?
Well, that's the point. So it was Joe Flacco not done last year, and he was just in an offense that was terrible, surrounded by bad players. Again, another indictment of the head coach of the New York Jets, and a great point by you that he's a great defensive mind. Obviously, he did a great job in Frisco with their defense. The Jet defense is amongst the top 5 in the league. So I agree, but I think he needs a better guy running the show on the offense. And the problem is, Jeff, I don't think it's Hackett, but unfortunately, The guy running the team right now is Aaron Rodgers, and that's the guy Aaron Rodgers wants running his offense. And that's who's going to be there next year. And listen, let's be honest. If there was any other quarterback, if there was any other player in the league at quarterback, somebody on the Jets staff, whether it's Douglas, Salah, Hackett, somebody would be fired at the end of this year, and rightfully so.
Listen, I feel as though that at the very least, and I know you're going to disagree, at the very least, Robert Salah gets another year, deserves another year. Joe Douglas, on the other hand, I don't know if I would give him another year. I don't know if you didn't make any competent moves to bolster the quarterback position before the season started. You certainly didn't do anything after the season started. Okay. Not that there was a ton of talent out there that you could have chose from, but you didn't even test the waters on the talent that was there.
Yeah, again, agree. I couldn't agree with you more. The problem with bringing, and again, Hard Rocket Sports, guys, that's Jeff. I'm Tom. We're here every Thursday night. We're celebrating our year-end show for 2023, welcoming in 2024 and the start of our 10th year on the air. The problem with firing Douglas, Jeff, is the old thing. You fire the general manager, and then you bring back the head coach, and now the GM, the new GM, basically gets a free 2 or 3 years because he's stuck with somebody else's head coach. So to me, if you were going to wipe Douglas out, and probably rightfully so, unfortunately, had Nathaniel Hackett not been the offensive coordinator, you probably would have seen a clean slate. I don't think the Jets could have went to next year with Joe Douglas as the GM without this scenario. I don't think so.
Oh, you know what? Last year at this time, everybody was saying what a great general manager he was, how he killed the draft, this, that, and the other thing. This year, he made a couple questionable picks in the draft. He didn't do anything free agency. He didn't build up the offensive line. He didn't get a competent backup quarterback in there. Too many questions. The only reason that I even say I would still give him a shot this year, and more so for Salah than Douglas, is that he had nobody to coach Salah.
Yeah.
I would be in there for days meeting with Douglas and say, just, I need to know why you didn't do this. I need to know why you didn't do that. I'm telling you. What's that?
I have a list of the good and bad for both coach and general manager. When you're done, I'd like to read
you got it. Please go over it.
Okay, so who do you want to start with? Coach first, or you want to start GM?
It doesn't matter. Whatever, you got the article, whatever's easier for you.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the highlighted good points. This is the Jets, strictly to Joe Douglas and Robert Salah. This is the highlights from Joe Douglas over the last 4 years or whatever it is. So obviously drafting Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, and Jermaine Johnson in the first round, and Breece Hall in the second round, with both Gardner and Wilson winning Rookie of the Year last year, is a huge accomplishment. So that's a huge hit.
Yes.
Also finding, he claimed off waivers people like Braxton Berrios, Bryce Huff, Tony Adams, and Xavier Gibson, who have all been key contributors over the last couple of years. Great straight job there.
Very good. Very true.
Right. And making the trade for Aaron Rodgers. Now, you can't help that Rodgers got hurt, but pulling off. How you doing there, Adam Hines? What's up, brother? So we're going to give him credit for the Aaron Rodgers.
You got to give him credit where credit is due, without a doubt. 100%. If you're going to rip him apart, you got to give him credit for what he did. But you want to know something? I got a feeling that what he didn't do outweighs what he did.
Well, it's again, it's two big issues that override everything he did well. Okay, one, he took Zach Wilson with the number 2 pick in the draft, a kid that most guys were very hesitant on, and he not only took him, but took him extremely high. Now, again, if you like a guy at 2 or you like a guy at 15, you like a guy, but it's a bad pick. And not only did he trade for him, did he draft him, Jeff, but he held on to him after everybody on this planet knew that he wasn't the guy. That, to me, that's the bigger indictment, is keeping him after last year. That's the biggest indictment.
I just wrote, real quick, as you go along, I got to say, okay, bad enough, like you just said, I'm a firm believer of that. I don't care if the guy is a punter and it's the first round. If you feel as though that's your guy, you got to go after him. You're doing what you have to do to build your team. I agree with that statement 1,000,000%. If they felt as though that Zach Wilson was the man, then they got to go after him. You got to do what you got to do. The guy is in his third year now as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Third or fourth year. He's proven that he cannot be a competent winning NFL quarterback on this team in this league. Okay. He is a perfect candidate. Go over to the XFL, go over to the USFL, play your ass off, and make your way back into the NFL. Okay.
Very good point.
You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it in the NFL. You have to be one of the worst quarterbacks in the league right now today. So yes, I agree with that statement. The only thing I disagree with is if you feel as though that your guy is there and you're drafted and he's there, you got to take who you got to take. But
agreed. Yeah. Okay. The biggest indictment so far, and here's the to me the second biggest indictment that you can have for him is was this 5 years in, started in 2019, and he has not yet built an offensive line to the point where I would tell you that they need to change at least 3, if not 4, of the guys on that offensive line at the moment.
Well, let me ask you this question. Mm-hmm. Jets offensive line, who are you keeping?
Tucker. Right? Vera Tucker. No. Elijah Vera Tucker. You're not going to keep Tucker?
2 years in a row, he had season-ending injuries. Guys made a class.
And the only other one I would keep, would be Tippin, the offensive, the center. He was drafted second round. Took it ahead of what the kid the Giants. So I like the kid the Giants took better. But
I don't think that guy Tippin is a fucking center. How you doing, Will? I don't even think he's a fucking center. I thought he was a guard.
Well, he's drafted as a center, and he played guard because they needed help at guard right now. But now he's been playing center the last few weeks.
No, I know he's been playing center, but I'm thinking that when he got drafted, he was drafted. Yeah, that's right. He was a center. He was one of the top-rated centers in the.
He was the top-rated center in the draft. Yeah. So yeah, there was a good pick.
Right now, the jury is out on him, but Becton, he's got to go. The rest of the guys are too old.
Sure. Judge Font, Brown, they all got to go.
Every year he gets fucking hurt.
Well, so at this point, he's into his 5th year trying to put an offensive line together, and we can't sit here and agree that there's one guy on that offensive line who he's found that's going to stay here for the next 5 years. So that's the next biggest indictment that I can have of him. And then I'm going to give you one more.
Huge. That's huge.
Yeah, and the next one is he has not nailed a bunch of free agents, including Carl Lawson, Mecole Hardman, Lazard, Dalvin Cook was a disaster. Randall Cobb has been horrendous. So there's 3 big things. Huh? Go back to Lawson. Go ahead.
Carl Lawson, okay? First year, injury. Second year, he played. Third year, he's healthy scratches. Why?
I don't know.
Okay, the guy was I'm not going to say that he was all pro or a Pro Bowl caliber defensive end, but he was more than serviceable. Why isn't the guy playing? You go out and draft this other kid, Will McDonald, I think his name was. Yes. Okay, what has he done?
Nothing.
Let Lawson fucking play.
I think at this point, what you're seeing is they're looking to hand the job to McDonald next year. Bryce Huff, who's had a great job with the Jets, looks like he won't be back in free agency, and they're looking to hand this kid McDonald at least a good chance to win the job. So we'll see. Again, those are the negatives for Joe Douglas. To me, the 2 things that stand out, obviously, Jeff, is Zach Wilson, keeping him. And again, I won't even blame him for drafting. People will blame him for drafting him. I don't even blame him for drafting him. My problem is, A, keeping him after last year, and B, not going into this season with a serviceable backup in the event that your 40-year-old quarterback did not make the entire season, and then not being able to build in 5 years, not being able to build an offensive line. To me, those are the biggest indictments of Joe Douglas.
Well, you know what, Tom? There's been more than one general manager in New York, and we both know that. But throughout the league, not just New York, I'm not going to be picking on anybody in particular, that hasn't been able to build an offensive line. But you haven't, like you said, you haven't even been able to get 1 or 2 pieces in there.
Correct.
Besides Becton, I told you from day one, when they drafted him and we talked about him, he was 367 pounds or 373 pounds, some like monstrous weight. The guy's too big. He's too big. There's such a thing as being too big, and Mekhi Becton was too big. You can't have a near 400-pound man playing football on your team. What kind of moves could he have? And when he goes to move, his body has such momentum at his size. Is his body just going to snap in half because his bottom isn't going to move with his? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. No, listen.
If that's a mistake right there, I would never have drafted a guy that big. If I'm drafting an offensive lineman, what's the highest you go weight-wise, offensive lineman? 340?
Again, I think it's not so much about weight, it's about body type. Some guys are just big guys and they can handle that kind of weight. And then there's other guys who are big.
Andre the Giant was that big and can handle that kind of weight. You're talking about a football player that sometimes has to cut on a dime. 373 pounds, bro.
Again, I'm not disagreeing. I never thought Becton was a top of that class. I think there's been other guys, and I think that Andrew Thomas is in the top 2 of that class. But again, Becton, I think for a lot of reasons, and that was one of them, was there was all sorts of rumors coming out that he had a problem maintaining his weight and keeping. His mother was this tremendous cook. I think he owned a catering business, and he liked to eat. And that, to me, that was the biggest red flag in the world. I think here's a guy who's having a hard time controlling his weight, and he showed up in camp and he wasn't in shape and he got hurt and it hasn't recovered since. So I'm with you. What you said is completely on the money. And
guys like me and you not being able to watch our weight is one thing. We have wives. We don't have a medical staff that watches over us. We don't have chefs, personal chefs, or anything of that nature. Okay. When I get home from work, if my wife says tonight we're having garlic bread, meatballs, and macaroni, all right, that's fine with me. Okay. Right. It does not matter if it's Sunday or Tuesday and what I had the night before and what I'm having tomorrow night.
Right.
Okay. If that's what she's making, that's what I'm eating. When you got a person like Mekhi Becton or any other NFL player, not just him, any NFL player, and you're on a professional sports franchise and your weight is teetering on the brink of disaster, you should have somebody that is fucking telling you this is what you need to eat, what you can and can't eat until I'll say March of next year. And even then, in March, you're going to be eating nothing but fish and chicken in the off season and broiled vegetables. Somebody has to reel these people in. No?
Listen, dude, I'm with you. I couldn't agree with you more. And I guess they couldn't reel him in. And I would be surprised if Mekhi Becton's on the Jets next year. I don't know what his contract status is. I don't know if he's got another year on his rookie deal. I'd have to look it up, but I would be surprised if he was there next year. I'd be surprised if there's anybody other than Tippmann as on the Jets. Tucker, I think, will be back. I don't disagree with you that he probably shouldn't after 2 major injuries. Congrats on the great year of shows, guys. Just so Jeff knows, we ain't dead yet. See you in 2024. Stick around, guys. We got the dead list coming up. That's right. There'll be Jeff's complete list of all the celebrities who have passed away in the year 2023.
It is quite the list this year.
I'm sure it is.
So bigger than last year. I got one. Just to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages.
Wow! So stick around. That'll be the end of the show tonight, and along with the Raider report, that's how we'll end 2023, and get ready.
By the way, did you listen to the Raider report?
I didn't. I do not listen to any of the reports until we get to the show. So we're going to get to the Peppy one shortly. I hope Frank's still around. And then we'll end oh boy. Well, that's how we're going to end the show. So stick around for the Raider report and the celebrity dead list and all the other things we got coming up. We're going to talk a little bit about the year in review. I want to talk to Jeff about that. So we're going to get off the Jets and Giants. There's a lot more football to talk about. We'll go through the NFL playoff schedule, and we'll start gearing up for the playoffs, and of course, the big NFL draft and all that stuff coming up in 2024. But let's bring in the end of 2023. In the meantime, Jeff, I think it's before we skip out of football and move on to the big news. One big news topic we've had for the last few months has been the travels of one Pepe. And last week, we were what's the right word? Came out of left field that Pepe no longer was chasing one Russell Wilson. And after what happened this week, I can understand it. And he is now on the Aaron Rodgers train.
Is he?
We don't know. We're going to find out in a second. So stay tuned, stay around for the next adventures of Pepe. And there he is.
It is I, Pepe. I bet you did not recognize me without my Denver Broncos mask on. But that is okay, for you see, I have switched affiliations. I am no longer going to be rooting for the one they call Russell Wilson and that downtrodden organization, the Denver Broncos. No, sir. I have now switched to my new favorite team, the New York Giants. Do you know why I like the New York Giants? I will tell you why. They're a proud, rich organization. Actually, they suck too. But they have a man on the team called Tommy Cutlets. My favorite sportscaster's name is Tommy Cutlets. Now my favorite quarterback's name is Tommy Cutlets. I will now be known as Pepe Cutlets. The Cutlets of 3. That is all. Happy New Year.
He's a man of mystery each week. He's changing affiliations. Last week it was Aaron Rodgers, and now it's Tommy DeVito. I won't even venture into the other part of that one.
And Tommy Cutlets squared, and Pepe Cutlets.
Oh boy. Well, another wrinkle. We still don't know what Pepe's trying to accomplish. We have not figured out lately. His travels have seemed to end. I don't know where he's going. Frankie's laughing. Frank, you just keep providing more and more material for the show, Frank. Just for the
keep
record.
posting pictures and masks, bro. I need the pictures.
Yeah, that's an interesting development that they're sitting him the rest of the way with a chance to win a playoff spot. He would, from I understand, Russell Wilson would not waive his injury clause, where I guess if he got hurt in the last 2 games, his contract for next year is guaranteed. And I guess it's not guaranteed for next year. And now there's a chance he's not going to be on the team next year. It's an interesting development. And I got to tell you, it speaks a lot to Russell Wilson and his character. Not that I think he should have done it, but it just seems like he wears out his welcome lately.
Well, let me ask you something, Ty. He was with Seattle for how many years, and it was successful for how many years?
Yep.
Then he comes to Denver, and everybody blamed it on Hackett and everything. But now here it is, the second year or second or third year in the first year without Hackett, and wow, fuck him. That's some strong language. He's not really my type, but you know, his wife, yeah, him, no, thank you. But listen, he's getting older, and every year that he doesn't produce and that he doesn't play well, you know, that's not looking good for him.
No. I know there's been rumors like he's one of his demands in Denver was to have his own private office in the building. He wanted to have an office. I mean, like, why would the quarterback need an office in the building? All sorts of weird stuff. It was kind of like the A-Rod thing years ago. But listen, obviously, you know, his abilities, I always thought he was a bit overrated. I didn't think he was a great quarterback to begin with.
Before you get too far away from that,
okay.
All right, he wants an office.
Yep.
Let me ask you something. Is that, I understand, what are you there to play quarterback? What do you need an office for? But, you know, in the end of the day, if this guy is going to produce and bring you playoffs and possible championships, you can't find an office somewhere off the locker room for him. You can't have one made. You're a multi-billion-dollar organization. You can't furnish a room someplace in a fucking closet and make an office.
I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is why does one play to why doesn't the next player get an office? Why doesn't every player, 53 players, have an office in the building?
Listen,
I get these. I'm just saying it's a separational thing. That's all.
Nobody ever knows who the punter was when the Pittsburgh Steelers won the Super Bowl 4 out of 5 years in a row, whatever it was, nobody knows who the punter was when the 72 Dolphins went undefeated, but they know who the quarterback is. Now, while I agree with you and Frank, because Frank, I see what you're writing there, it's still the idea. You know what? If the guy wants an office, okay, it's a bit stupid. Give him his office, okay, put it over there in the corner by the furnace and by the old footballs, and that's that. There's your office. What are you going to do in it? You're going to have business meetings? You're going to call up other organizations to do trades? I don't know. You're going to use it to study film and by yourself, or talk to a quarterback coach, or all right, let's see what happens. And that's that. I don't, but you don't produce, that's another story. Don't forget, they had him come in thinking that he was still a viable player.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. They made the trade, gave him the extensions and all that stuff because they thought he was still going to be the quarterback he was in Seattle.
The quarterback he was in Seattle a few years before he got there.
Well, I agree. I think they thought a change of scenery. Nate Hackett is his head coach last year. And then obviously they thought that with Sean Payton coming in, and again, I think his numbers were better this year. I'm not disagreeing. In fact, I agree with Frankie on that. But I don't think that he's that good a quarterback anymore. And I'm guessing that they just didn't want to lock in and guarantee the money next year. And I understand why they did it. I also understand why he didn't want to sign it. If he plays the last 2 games and breaks his leg, he's going to lose out. So I understand on both ends.
But you know what? As an organization, why would you even come up with a contract like that to even offer the guy that you're talking about that much money?
I agree.
To me, it would only make sense to me. How old is Russell Wilson now? 35, 36?
I would say easy. Yeah, I would say.
So why in God's name is his salary going up? Shouldn't his salary start to come down a little bit?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, again,
let's say you're a general manager and you're going to sign a quarterback, and whoever the quarterback is, doesn't matter. He's a top 7 quarterback in the NFL today.
35 years old, by the way, just so you know.
35. Okay. At what age would you turn around and say, no, this guy is too old for me to give big money to? The average is 40 million. I'm going no more than 25 to 28 million dollars a year for this guy. What is the year where you turn around, Tommy, as general manager, turn around and say, no, this guy's too old for a contract like that?
Again, listen, would I have given a 41-year-old Tom Brady a raise and a big contract? Sure. Would I give?
He proved it.
That's why I don't think it's based on age necessarily. I think it's based on what you've done. Would I give a 30-year-old Russell Wilson a big contract? No, I wouldn't have. I didn't think he was that great. So I don't think it's necessarily about the age. Like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers got a big raise from the Packers. The Jets took on that money at 40 years old because he still was playing at a high enough level, and even he wasn't great. So I think it's not depending on the age of the player. I just think it's how well he's playing at that age.
Yes, but I understand what you're saying. But once you get to a certain age, and Frank, I see what you're saying, and I hear you. But when you get to a certain age, whether it's 34, 33, 35, 37, whatever it is, you expect a drop off in their performance.
Absolutely.
Okay. Tom Brady, I could think of 2 players in 2 different sports. Okay. That will play for a long time, maybe way past what they should have played, but still played it. Actually, 3 players. Okay. Tom Brady played until almost 45, still played at a high level. Chris Chelios in hockey. Okay. Still played until close to 50 years old. Jaromir Jagr is still playing at 55, 56 years old. And yes, it's not in the NHL because he probably get killed in the NHL, but he was playing over here in America until a couple years ago. He's still playing over in Czechoslovakia or wherever it is that he's coming from. I'm not saying he's the same player he was 30 years ago, but somewhere along the line, nobody's turning around and telling him, listen, nobody is going to sign you. We're not going to keep you. Same thing with a quarterback in the NFL. You could turn around and say, all right, this guy's 32 years old. He's still in his prime. I'll sign him for a 3-year deal so that by the time he's 35, and then maybe after that, I sign him to a 1-year deal. not another 3 or 5 year deal, so that if he shits the bed at 37 years old, then we know that that's it. But we have him on the hook till he's 40, and he's strangling the salary cap. That's what I'm talking about.
Again, all fair thoughts, Jeff. Honestly, all fair thoughts. Like I said, I for me, Drew Brees at 35, 36, I would have given a big contract to. Aaron Rodgers, I would have
given Drew Brees another 5-year deal at 35 years old.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been a fully guaranteed 5-year deal, but I would have given Drew Brees
so
a 5-year deal.
You're saying that you wouldn't have given him.
I would have given him a 3-year guaranteed deal at that point, depending on how well, Peyton Manning. I mean, these are guys who played into the late 30s and almost 40 at still a very high level. I mean, even Drew Brees, who wasn't great as last year, was playing at a level that was better than most quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, again, would I have given him at 39 or 40 another 5-year deal? No, I probably wouldn't have. But at 35, 36, these guys were still throwing, these guys were still gunslinging. Would I give him a huge deal? No, I wouldn't give anybody a huge deal that way. But, again.
At 32 years old, maybe you sign him for a 3-year deal, okay?
Yep.
Whether it's guaranteed or not important. Let's just talk numbers. And your first year, you're saying $30 million. Second year, $34 million. Third year, $38 million. Or maybe even $40 million, okay? So now he's 35 years old. Okay, you notice he's lost a step. He doesn't rush as much. Instead of throwing the ball 70 yards, now he's struggling to throw it 65, 60 yards. Yep. Now his career is up. Would you turn around and sign him for another 3 years at 40, 44, and then $48 million?
No,
so what I'm
probably
asking
not.
is when do you start backing off the money? You have
I
to.
don't know.
You have to.
Well, again, how well did they play at 30, at 34? How well did they play at 35? If at that point, if they're at the top level of their game, again, it's got to be a safe contract. I'll end it with this. I'll say it's got to be a safe contract. So will I give a Drew Brees or an Aaron Rodgers at 35, 36 a 4 or 5 year deal? Yes, but it's going to be the first 2 years are guaranteed. The last 3 years are not guaranteed, and there'll be certain things that kick in. You play 16 games. You're in the top 3 passing. Where you protect yourself a little bit. But I wouldn't give them a Deshaun Watson deal at 36 or 35 with a 5-year fully guaranteed $260 million deal. No, that I agree with you there. But
well, that's what I'm talking about. Whether it's guaranteed or not, and I'm not even talking guaranteed. We talked about these guys making $30 million a year, and you were like, "That's insane." And we're like, "Yeah, that is insane." And then the next year, here's somebody making $32 million a year. Wow, that's big. That's big. Then $35 million a year.
Oh yeah.
Sooner or later, you got to turn around and say, you know what? We're not going past 30 million tops. That's it.
I'm with you.
We're not doing it.
100%. And let me ask you this question. So Patrick Mahomes is still a young kid, 28 years old, 27, whatever it is right now. Patrick Mahomes is still a young kid. He got a $50 million deal for 10 years. You think, okay, he's taking, not for nothing, but he didn't play great this year. And here's the problem. His $50 million a year contract is absolutely going to prevent them from helping this team fix itself, because you couldn't pay Tyreek Hill. Let me ask you a question. If you paid him $35 million, they couldn't took that extra $15 million and paid Tyreek Hill to keep him on that team. That's the problem. They're overpaying the quarterbacks in this league. And I agree with you, Jeff. Everything you said is 100% on the money.
Yes, but here's the thing, though, Tom. A lot of these teams, and I know exactly what you're going to say, because we've talked about it before, and it's hard to disagree with it. But a lot of these teams also factor in, and it's not right to do this, also factor in that the salary cap is going to rise every year. They also factor in that they're going to draft a rookie out of college. They're going to get him for 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 productive years. Okay, maybe if he's a first rounder, what do they go 4 years, and then they got the right to a 5th year, where they don't have to sign him to a second contract.
Yeah.
And by the time that you get into the 4th and 5th year of some of these mega deals, now this guy that you're paying $50 million to is making below league average, because now these quarterbacks are making $60 million a year. And right now, everything is on a lull. It's very quiet. And I think it's quiet because I don't think there's a quarterback in the league right now. I think there's actually a depression of talent in the league. Josh Allen, seems to slow down a little bit. Burrow is hurting. The kid from the Jaguars, yeah, he's all right. He's good. He's not exactly lighting the league on fire. Kyler Murray didn't turn out to be what he is. Matthew Stafford's getting old. Atlanta didn't even have a quarterback. Baker Mayfield, it's only a matter of time before he starts making commercials again, and he starts to go down the tube. The kid from the Texans, he ended up getting a concussion. The kid from the Panthers doesn't look all that good. Where there's a vacuum of talent. There's no. Who is your top 5 quarterbacks in the league today right now?
Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, and Trevor Lawrence, and none of them are great right now.
And none of them are great. And how many of them? Herbert's out due to an operation. Burrow's out due to an operation.
So, I mean, those are the most talented quarterbacks in the league. Doesn't mean they're the best. I think Jalen Hurts, Tua, overrated. Stroud may be a great quarterback someday. We'll see. I wasn't impressed with Bryce Young from the Panthers. Richardson didn't play long enough, and probably going to wind up getting himself killed. After that, it's pretty much downhill. After that,
when we talked about this almost 10 years ago, you said the names Brady, Breeze, Manning, and a few others, just Rodgers, just right out.
Yeah, Roethlisberger, sure.
Roethlisberger. You can't do that now. You can't.
I agree.
It's hard to do it.
Jeff, it's the way these kids are being taught in the college level and the high school level. They're not playing quarterback anymore. They're playing running back with a guy who can throw the ball. It's a different ball. It's based on the way they're teaching these kids at the younger levels and bringing them up through into the pros. They're not teaching them to be quarterbacks anymore. They're teaching them to be running backs who can throw the football, and that's the problem. That's exactly why you're seeing the lack of talent at the quarterback position. And you're 100% right. There's no doubt. To me, it's the worst quarterback play I've seen, probably going back to the 90s. When you got guys like Andre Ware and some of those guys playing quarterback in this league, Turk Schonert, and Stidham is top 5. Yeah, Stidham is top 5.
Stidham, he's on Denver, I'm guessing.
Yeah, he's starting this week for Denver. Yes, the former Patriot quarterback. On Rocket Sports, that's Jeff and Tom, and our good pal Frank.
I'll be right back. I got to run to the other room real quick.
Yeah, when Jeff comes back, we're going to go back and talk about the year 2023 and the biggest moments. And I'll give you mine. Well, wait, I think the biggest moments for me this year, the top stories for me this year have been political. I think the sports landscape has taken a big step back. And I know this is the Hard Rocket Sports Show, and we talk music and we talk sports, but I think you have to look around this country, folks, and say that the biggest news from this year, obviously, is the political landscape, and it's immigration, it's crime, it's the economy, and it's all bad. And that's the sad part, that 2023 to me was one of those years you like to forget. You think back to 1976, 2008, years where we had bad financial times. 2008 had the real estate market collapsing. 76, we would gas shortages and people out of work. It's almost that the homelessness, the crime we have today, that is the biggest news from 2023. And that's what makes 2023 not a great year. Listen, for me personally, I had a great year at work. I work for great people. I have a great family. I have great friends. I have fun with this show. For me personally, 2023 was a bit of a success. I grew as a person. But when you ask me, yes, and there is a common denominator. But to me, when you ask me what the biggest news stories or the biggest thing I'll remember from 2023 will be the failure of our federal government and even the local governments to handle immigration properly, to handle crime at all. It is now you are punished for being a good person and you are coddled if you're a criminal. Our economy is in shambles, and it starts at the top. And that, to me, Jeff, is the biggest stories from 2023 on the whole. I want to get into what the biggest ones in some of sports and music are, but to me, Jeff, when I think of 2023, on the whole, not for me personally or whatever, but as a whole for this country, that's what I think of.
Tom, there's a lot of stories that are going on in this country right now that'll and not to turn this political, but I gotta say something. I heard what you said about the federal government and them letting the immigration they call it like it's almost like you're watching it, rooting for it to happen, almost the way that they do it on TV. They have thousands of miles to go, but yet they come. Well, why doesn't somebody fucking stop them? Yeah. Okay, they're walking through how many different countries, not states, not through Mexico, countries to get here, and yet nobody stops them. That's one thing. Two, when they get here, what do? Oh yeah, come on in, go right up there, right there, that bus right there to the left, hit the buses to the left, everybody on this side, buses to the right, and then they bust them all over the place. Okay, yep. It's disgrace. Then you got Eric Adams saying, he comes on TV, this is not my problem. This is not New York City's problem. It is the federal government. And well, they come into your fucking city, you asshole. Okay, I work for New York City. I have not been able to do overtime in the last month and a half because of these motherfucking migrants. You know what? What about my household and my money? Okay, that's another thing. And then as I'm sitting here, I'm getting alerts on my phone. Guess what? I do not like Donald Trump. You know that. I think that man's a fucking idiot. He's a moron. I would love to see somebody else win the Republican nomination. He is now off the ballot for the primaries in Colorado and now Maine. Okay? What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? I do like the idea that the Republican candidates turned around and said that's not the way that they want to win. They want the voters to turn around and keep him off.
And it will change. And it will change.
Huh?
Yeah, the Supreme Court, it's going to go to front of the Supreme Court. See, what happens is that they're voting him off because they're saying that January 6th, when 2021, he caused or was part of an insurrection, and it is an obscure law that was created for the Civil War for all the generals and the people for the South who they were basically told, since you tried to take over the country, you're no longer allowed to hold office. So they're using that obscure law to keep him off the ballot. It'll eventually wind up in front of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's going to say, A, nobody's ever convicted him of being part of an insurrection. Two, he's never even been accused of it. You can't do it. So it eventually will go away.
Here's the only thing that gets me, okay?
Sure.
He hasn't been convicted of it, yes, because he still hasn't gone to trial for it.
No, he hasn't even been accused of it. All the trials that he's gone to have nothing to do with January 6th and him causing an insurrection in this country. It's been talked about, but not one, not Jack Smith, not any of the other trials that he's on that supposedly is going to happen have anything to do with January 6th and an insurrection.
No, I know that, but it's just the point that he hasn't even been convicted of it, hasn't been on trial for it, whatever, however you want to say it, nothing. It hasn't happened yet, okay? Then that leads me to believe, why the fuck in God's name do you even want this guy to be president when he just keeps moving along and moving along? Like, if I was him, I would just turn around and be like, you know what? Take your presidency, stick it up your ass. I don't need this bullshit.
I honestly, truly, you know what? You're 100% right. There's a lot to be said for the fact that, give the guy credit, he wants a job, and to do a job that he probably should just say, fuck this, I got a great life. I can do whatever I want. I got jets. I got Secret Service the rest of my life. I can do what I want, go wherever. I agree. And I'll say this. Would I prefer maybe Ron DeSantis or somebody else to run? Sure. I kind of do. I think they're the same kind of guys, just, younger and different. But again, if Trump is on the ballot,
the next one up in the Republican side is going to be Nikki Haley.
It's possible too. And listen, Nikki Haley's got some good stuff. The bottom line is, come next year, barring a health issue or something out of the ordinary, Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee. I would be shocked if it wasn't. But regardless, whoever has the R next to their name in November of 2024, that person will get my vote. It will not be anybody on the Democratic side. I don't care if it's Newsom, Biden, Harris, any of them. You can keep it. What I see right now in this country is caused by the Democrats, and I wouldn't vote for a Democrat if you paid me to. If you promised me Pam Anderson from the 90s in the phone in the booth with me, it'll never happen. I will. And Frankie, I agree with you. He wants to be a great president, and he was a really good president. He just was a bit of a dick, but he was a great president. What he did for this country for 4 years, guys, I'm sorry, if you pay attention to what he actually did as compared to what's going on now, it's light years. But again, I would vote for Nikki Haley. I would vote for Nikki Haley in a heartbeat. I would vote for Chris Christie in a heartbeat over anybody on the Democratic side. So
I don't see him fixing what's going on in this world when he comes back. That's for one thing.
Well,
sure.
I don't know, Jeff. I would just hope that at least he would pump the brakes on it. Let's put it that way. At least what you want is that you want to pump the brakes, and then hopefully 4 years he starts to clean it up, and then whoever is his vice president or whoever runs after his 4 years would continue on his policies or likewise. It's kind of like the Giuliani years. Giuliani did a great job, and then when he was done, Bloomberg came in and continued what Bloomberg had to do was not screw it up, and he didn't. 12 years, Bloomberg did a great job. We had a 20-year run of greatness in New York City, and then they elected de Blasio, and they said, you know what, things have been so good, let's put somebody in who's a complete moron and go for it.
Well,
but Frankie's right.
They definitely won that.
Yeah, so again, I agree with you guys. So to me, it doesn't matter who runs in the Republican side. Whoever that is, I got to vote there because what the Democrats have showed me for 4 years right now, I wouldn't vote for Democrat again. If you paid me, whatever, I would never do it. But that everybody has to do their thing. I don't want to get too political. I just wanted to talk about what I thought were the biggest news stories for the year. Let's get back to the Hard Rock and Sports news stories. Let's run through the music end of it, Jeff. I'm going to give you, and again, guys, stick around. We're about a half hour from Jeff's Celebrity Dead List and the Radio Report, which will end the show. Jeff, I'm going to give you 2023 heavy metal music, hard rock, bands that disbanded in the year 2023. You ready?
Go for it, man.
Most of these I do not know, but I will throw them out there. Maybe you know somebody. Stop me if you know any of these bands. The Agonists.
Never heard them.
Betraying the Martyrs.
Nope.
Dark Fortress.
Nope.
Dawn Raid.
Nope.
Kiss.
I might have. They sound familiar.
All right. Well, so Kiss, there's another band. Kix has called it a career.
Yes, I heard.
Palisades.
I heard of them. I don't know how far back I heard of them, but I have heard of them.
So these are none other than Kiss and Kicks. I don't know anything about Power Quest.
No.
How about Russ Kaja?
Negative.
Terrorizer.
No.
All right, so those are a list of the bands in the 2023 heavy metal category that have disbanded in the year 2023. You want to get the list of the bands that formed in 2023?
I'm sure they're going to be a well-known stock. Well, let's go ahead.
Jeff, have you heard of Better Lovers?
Well, I've been told that I've been better. Yeah.
That's it. That's the only new heavy metal band that was formed in the year 2023.
Wow. Well, once again, I have sadly must say that this goes to show and prove my thoughts when I said that there was nobody coming up behind these bands, that when bands like Metallica and Megadeth started to slow down a little bit, and when Slayer retired, and when Sabbath retired, and now when Kiss retired, Kix is a different kind of music, but you know what? Metal, I'll throw them in there. Kix, they retired. Not that I was a fan, but you want to know something? There's nobody coming up behind them. Who is the big metal band right now? Is it Metallica? I 2 albums in a row now, Hardwired and 72 Seasons or whatever the fuck it is, that I just refuse to listen to.
Yeah, I agree. Hardwired was okay. 72 Seasons, I caught enough of it to say I'm not interested.
And I'll tell you something else too. Shujitsu from Maiden. Never heard a song on it. There's just nothing about it that makes me want to listen to it. And any Priest song, Firepower, and all these other Priest albums, I don't want to hear it, man. I do not want to hear it.
I got you, but I would say this: again, Firepower was a good album. The last couple of Priest albums, again, they weren't terrible. There's nothing where you go, I got to listen to that album 5 times. I listened to them once. I own them. I said, that's a good album. And I don't go back. Shinjitsu, I didn't like it all. The Maiden, pretty sure Maiden's going to have an album with one song that's 78 minutes long. That's where it's headed. And I
a little like intervals where birds start chirping and you hear water running and it goes into another part of the song.
Yeah, it's not for me. I love Maiden. It's the first Maiden album in 30 or 40 years that I didn't go buy when it came out. It's the first one, and I refuse to go spend $60 on an album that just sucks. I'm sorry. I think the artwork sucks. I think the theory behind it sucks. And I do, Frank. I agree with Frankie. I don't know what they sound like live, but the albums aren't bad. There's nothing memorable about the song.
You know what? Listen, you got Rob Halford, Ian Hill, Scott Travis, okay, Richie Faulkner. Who's the other guitar player? You don't have KK no more. Okay,
Andy Sears, I think he's been producing their albums. He's also playing on the albums.
KK should have fucking come back in the band.
Oh, I agree.
Tipton, as soon as Glenn Tipton was no longer available to play, and he can't play, the guy looks like he can't even walk anymore at this point in time. All right, it's not the same. It's not Priest. It's not the Priest that we knew 20 years ago. And I understand things change. I understand that. But I don't really want to fucking listen to Priest with Richie Faulkner and some other guy. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
No, Jeff, I think that's valid. But to say that the I don't know how much you listen to the albums. Maybe you listen to them all. I have no idea. I agree with you that I am not excited about the current bands. Like I love Queensryche.
I'm talking about fucking Priest. The new Priest album does nothing for me. I've tried to listen to it, and it's just like,
and that's fair. And I think that's fair. If you listen to the album and it doesn't move you, and I agree. Listen, I think Firepower is good. I listened to the entire album one time, and I haven't picked it up since. The last couple, I've picked them up. I bought them. I listened to them. It's got some stuff, and then I go, do I ever want to hear that again? And I go, no, I don't want to hear it anymore. But I own it, and that's fine, and that's the way it goes. But I'm not disagreeing with that. But let's stick on to the thing now. I got the bands that have reformed in 2023. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
3 Inches of Blood. And Adam or Frank, if you heard of any of these bands or anybody out there heard these bands, let me know. 3 Inches of Blood.
3 Inches of Cock.
A Galak.
No.
Bless the Fall.
Who?
Bless the Fall.
No.
Creed has reconnected. And I don't know about how they have them as a heavy metal band, but
what else are you going to put them on as?
Crimson Glory. I think I've heard of them, but I don't.
Todd Latour from Queensryche came from Crimson Glory.
Okay, so they have reformed in 2023. An interesting band name here, the Dillinger Escape Plan, has reformed.
I heard of them, but they escaped without us realizing it, and then came back without us realizing it. How important could they be?
Joe Flacco has just led the Cleveland Browns on a drive straight down the field. It scored a touchdown on the New York Jets. So we got this up on the screen. So the Jets will be receiving the kickoff, down 7-0. X-Toll. Not from, I don't know them.
Yeah, which one? Sorry, what was it again?
X-Toll.
No.
Well.
Oh, wait a minute. Frank Catalano, does Dillinger Escape Plan or hardcore? They're a hardcore band, or are they just heavy music?
Okay, we'll continue while Frankie answers that. Forbidden has reformed. For My Pain has reformed.
I heard of Forbidden.
Okay. Haste the Day has reformed. Lord Chaos has reformed. How about Martyr, Jeff? Martyr has reformed.
No.
Newstead, obviously we know who Newstead is. They've gotten back together.
Yeah, I remember their stuff is. Yeah,
I like Jason. I like Jason Newsted, but I'm not a fan of Newstead for some reason. I don't know why. A Plea for Purging. Never heard of them.
Oh.
Adam Hines has heard of them. Adam, you've heard of Plea for Purging? Poison Black has reformed. Sabotage. I've heard of Sabotage. They've reformed.
Those guys are old.
Yeah. Tarot. I don't know who they are. They've returned. They've reformed.
Who? Tarot.
Tarot. Tarot.
Oh, now, Jeff, I heard of them.
Earlier, I told you that a band named Terrorizer had disbanded this year, right? Well, just so you know, they've reformed in the same year. So they've decided they had nothing else to do. Nobody else wanted them, and their day jobs were quiet. So Terrorizer has disbanded and reformed in the same year.
Dude, that might be the most Spinal Tap thing since Spinal Tap.
It might be. 1,000-Foot Crutch has reformed. Training for Utopia has reformed. And finally, Wrathchild has reformed.
Wrathchild, wow.
Yes.
I remember them sucking and looking like girls in the 80s.
Well, they're back. So they're back now. But all right, so I want to go into some of the big events in metal this year. Then we'll get to the sports. And that should lead us right into the celebrity death list. So stick around. About 8:45, Jeff will do that. And we'll get to the rating report. And we will officially bring the 2023 Hard Rock and Sports year to an official close. We are so glad to have had you guys with us most of the year. Adam and Frank and Louie, the guys at Black Sasquatch, our friend Mike Weissman at hempwizard.net, Hemp Wizard Beard Care Company. So many of our friends, Jay Giasio, all the people who stuck by us through the year, talking the fast lane. But all you people, we really could. Yes, don't forget Culture Club. So, Jeff, on January 26th, Twisted Sister reunited for a one-off performance following their induction into the Metal Hall of Fame. I think the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame isn't like a traveling RV that drives around the country. I don't think they have a permanent building for the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame. So, but I didn't know that Twisted Sister reunited for a one-off show. I'm curious to see. I don't know.
More importantly, did you give a fuck?
Well, only the simple. I loved it. Would see who would be the drummer at that point.
It's got to be Mike Portnoy.
He's also on my list. But hey, by the way, did you read that Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson are actually contemplating reuniting Rush and going back on the road?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I mean, there's no. Well, actually, they named a bunch of drummers that they could see going out with them. I think I want to say one of them, obviously Portnoy because he's everywhere. I think Chad Smith was on that list.
Chad Smith.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, there was like 4 or 5 drummers. I don't quote me on the Chad Smith one, but there was 4 or 5 guys. I'm pretty sure he was quoted on that list. But just the interesting fact that Geddy and Alex said basically, hey, we never wanted to retire. We only did because Neil couldn't continue, and then he died. And out of respect, we didn't reform. But it really does seem to think that I think you will see another round of Rush tours, possibly a Rush album in the near future. So stand by on that.
Now I got to ask this question.
Go ahead.
Let's say that they decide. Let's say they pick Mike Portnoy, okay? And there was 3 guys in Rush. One of them is now no longer with us. But by this time, who knows if maybe he would have want to go back out on the road for one last time around. If Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee decide to go out as Rush, whether it's Rush or Rush with Mike Portnoy, do you have the same problem with that as I had with Pantera going out with their present lineup?
No, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't. Geddy, I think as long, I'm a big believer. As long as there's at least one major founding member, 2 is just great. If you only have 3 and 2 of them are there, I'm kind of okay with it. Like, I don't think you can go out, and this is not to disparage Neil Peart. I think he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest drummers of rock of all time. I think though, if Geddy isn't there, you can't do it. I think if it's Geddy and Neil, you can do it with a different guitar player. And not that Alex Lifeson isn't a great guitar player, but you can almost see it. But Rush is so much Geddy Lee with the bass playing, the singing, the sound of his voice, the keyboards and all the stuff that he does, that you can't have Rush without Geddy. It's like having Iron Maiden without Steve Harris. It's not possible.
I got to agree with Frank. I'm sorry, but I got to agree with Tommy to an extent, and a little bit more I want to add to that. Here's the thing. Neil Peart died, okay? Dimebag got murdered. After Dimebag got murdered with Pantera, his brother said that he wanted nothing all to do with the other 2 remaining members, Rex and Phil, to do any kind of reunion. And he was totally against doing any kind of reunion because of it. Mm-hmm. Rush didn't break up on bad terms, bad feelings, okay? Neil Peart simply said he wanted to retire. He didn't want to perform live anymore. who knows if that would have changed if he decided to live. It certainly seems at this point in time that he stopped playing because he had of health issues,
Sure.
which unfortunately took his life. But now you got these two guys that have been touring and playing out for 50 years. I see no problem why they couldn't go out as Rush. I understand you're bringing up a valid point because that's all there is right there. No,
Sure.
Rush was three guys equal. You're 100% right. But because of the way that Rush ended on good terms, I don't have a problem with it, man. I really don't. Certain bands like The Who going out with just Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey and calling it The Who. Yes, there's like two different versions of Yes out there. I don't know. The Scorpions, basically with Rudy Schenker and Klaus Meine is the only two originals still left. That kind of gets with me. But Rush, I'd have no problem with them going out there. And they deserve to, them two guys out of three deserve to do whatever they want.
I agree. I agree with you, Jeff. I think again, if you tried to go out with Alex Lifeson and Neil Peart, while it's Rush, I get it. It's not Rush without Geddy Lee. It's just not. I mean, that
you know, Geddy Lee, let me ask you something. Let's say that Chris Squire was still alive. Okay. Yeah. And Geddy Lee said, you know what, I want to retire. But Alex Lifeson and Neil Peart turned around and said, listen, we want to get Chris Squire from Yes to take your place. And Geddy Lee turns around and says, I give you my blessing. You wouldn't acknowledge that as Rush? Even if I got another singer and Geddy Lee said, please do it. Please don't let me hold you up. Please do it.
I think the answer is yes. Of course, you acknowledge it. You got a founding member who says, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. But you guys keep going. For me, Rush is the sound of Geddy Lee's voice. Yeah, it's the sound of Geddy Lee playing. Again, this is not to disparage the other two guys. Both guys are incredible, and one of them is probably the greatest at his craft. I just think that when I think of Iron Maiden, I think of Steve Harris. So if Steve Harris walked away today and the rest of those guys continued on without him, it's not Iron Maiden. It cannot be Iron Maiden without Steve Harris, and Rush cannot be Rush regardless without Geddy Lee. And there's other. Listen, if Daryl what's his name? Dimebag's brother. What's his name?
Who's that?
Vinny. If Vinny Paul would have said, "Hey, my brother died. We're going to bring in. I'll use Zakk Wylde. It doesn't matter who. We're going to bring in Zakk Wylde, and we're going to keep it going because I think Pantera's story needs to keep being told." And he went out there with the other two guys and himself. Would you have considered that Pantera still?
I wouldn't have considered it Pantera, but I would have had an easier time digesting it. Okay.
Right.
When you had 50% of the band, 25% of the band wasn't here, 25% of the other 25% said he had wanted nothing to do with it. And then they waited for him to die, and then it happened. I didn't like that.
Right. Now, Frankie, to the Queen point, I agree with you. We needed to be the right singer. The guy from Bad Company, Adam Lambert, they weren't the right guys. The right guy would have been George Michael. George Michael would have fit Queen to the Freddie Mercury T. I watched the guy do it, and to me, that's the right guy. I have not found my Queen footing with Adam Lambert. He's actually too gay. I'm sorry to say that. He's actually too gay to be in Queen. Freddie Mercury was gay. He's gay squared. It's just too much for me. And I also don't think he's got a great voice. I just don't.
He was gay, yes, but I don't think he was totally full-blown gay when they first came out. He hid it as well as he was able to until he didn't want to hide it no more. And then once he opened the door, not only did he open it, he kicked it down. Without his doubt. But as far as Paul Rodgers and stuff, that's why it was always Queen and Paul Rodgers.
Yes.
It was never just Queen.
Right. It's Queen and Adam Lambert. I get it.
It was always Queen. It was Queen and Adam Lambert too, but it was never Queen when it was just Paul Rodgers.
But I also have a problem is, listen, Brian May's there. It's okay. Roger Taylor is still, to me, once John Deacon left, it became different to me. Because
John Deacon left right after fucking, he was gone. He was out of there as soon as Freddie Mercury was gone. He left right after the concert.
Yeah, so to me, that's when Queen stopped being Queen because there's too many members gone. But again, I have no problem with them going out as Queen. Plus, I couldn't even tell you who is even the bass player at this point in Queen.
Oh, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
nobody worthwhile. It's
It
probably
could be a rotating guy for all I know. I've never heard who the actual bass player is, but let's move on. I want to get through this.
a touring musician.
It's possible, yeah. Let's see. Other big news: Dream Theater announced the departure of drummer Mike Mangini and the return of original drummer Mike Portnoy after 13 years. I didn't realize it was that long that Portnoy had been out of Dream Theater. And I got to be honest with you, great band, great music. I guess it's just not for me. I've never been a big Dream Theater guy. It's just too. Maybe it's too deep for me, too progressive for me. But they've not reunited. Slipknot announced the band was parting ways with drummer Jay Weinberg, who had joined the band in 2014. Kiko Lorio announced his departure from Megadeth. And on December 1st and 2nd, Kiss concluded their end-of-the-road world tour with set of back-to-back final shows, which to me is probably the biggest music story of 2024, Jeff. Kiss calling it a final an ending. Now, again, there wasn't a lot of the big news, but to me, when a band of Kiss's magnitude calls it a day officially, and hopefully it is official, I think that's the biggest news story of the year for hard rock and heavy metal.
Oh, or some of the bands that you mentioned earlier, next year's pickings are going to be even more slim.
Yeah. Well, listen, you never know. Next year could be Priest announces their retirement, or Maiden, or Scorpions. We'll see. I won't get into the obituary. Anybody of any will probably wind up on your list. And if I went through half the names on here, you couldn't even begin to know who half these people are. So I'll leave that. Let's do a couple minutes of sports, Jeff. We'll do the highlights for the year. January saw what's his name? Damar Hamlin released from the hospital after his near fatal I don't call it an accident or a hit in the NFL game last year. He was released on January 11th. Let's see. Tom Brady in February announced his retirement from football for the second time. The Nets traded Kyrie Irving, officially calling it a day with the big three. And LeBron James passes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record of 38,387 points to become the NBA's all-time scoring leader, Jeff. Pretty good start to the year. Some big news topics there.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Okay, yes. February also continues. The Nets also continued their getting rid of the big three by trading Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns on February 9th. And the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Philadelphia Eagles 38-35 in a really good Super Bowl this year. So that was the NFL champion was the Kansas City Chiefs, number 2 for Patrick Mahomes. In March, Jeff, let's see. Anything of nope. Nothing happened good in March. Japan won the 2023 World Baseball Classic with Shohei Ohtani winning the tournament MVP. April, World Wrestling Federation, World Wrestling Entertainment and Endeavor, the majority owner of the UFC, announced that the two companies will merge. Let's see what else we got here. April, the Green Bay Packers trade Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets, which to me might be the biggest news story of the football campaign, Jeff, which was the trade of Aaron Rodgers and the injury after 4 plays of Aaron Rodgers. Do you have a bigger news story in football this year?
Yeah, the Jets not taking another quarterback and sending Zach Wilson out there. The biggest head scratcher of the year.
Well, just to update you also, the Cleveland Browns have scored a second touchdown. The Jets scored on their opening drive, and Cleveland has gone down the field 2 times in a row right through the Jet defense and now lead 14-7 in this game. So Brittany Griner, Jeff, on April 27th, speaks at a press conference after her release in Russia. I think that's a story that got buried early in the year. We did talk about it here. And to me, the fact that she was traded for a spy or a gun runner after committing that crime in Russia, I think was something that it was a failure of the U.S. government.
Definitely.
Let's see.
out.
In June. Let's see. Manchester. I'm gonna skip that. I don't care. The Denver Nuggets win their first NBA championship in franchise history, beating the Miami Heat in 5 games. The Vegas Golden Knights win their first Stanley Cup in only their 6th NHL season, beating the Florida Panthers in 5 games. The Vegas Golden Knights, Jeff, in 6 seasons, won something the Rangers haven't done in 30 years as of next year.
I can't believe they're only there for 6 years. I thought they were here maybe 3-4 years.
It's 6 years. I didn't realize it was that much either. Let's see. July 24th saw Bronny James, son of NBA legend LeBron James, suffer a cardiac arrest at a USC basketball practice. In August, thankfully, the U.S. women's national soccer team is knocked out of the Women's World Cup. Thank God. And that would be Megan Rapinoe's final international appearance, that piece of shit. Let's see.
Hard to dispute that.
Yep. Let's see. What other big? There's a lot of. Simone Biles makes her history at the U.S. Gymnastics Championship with her 8th all-around title. I have no respect for Simone Biles after she backed out of the Olympics during the Olympics because there was too much pressure and cost somebody else the opportunity to go to the Olympics. So Simone Biles, people can celebrate all they want. As far as I'm concerned, she is a disgrace. If you can't handle it, don't go. Don't take somebody else's spot to get your name out there. And then get this. It's too much pressure. Go fuck yourself. Not too many people get that opportunity. Go fuck yourself. That's how I feel. Jeff, big story in September, obviously, is Aaron Rodgers ruptured his Achilles in just 4 snaps into his Jet career, changing the landscape of the NFL season, Jeff.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is newsworthy to you, Jeff, but do you realize that on September 24th of this year, Taylor Swift attends an NFL game for the first time?
Yeah, Taylor Swift. Unbelievable that, you know what, that she could actually get the attention that she does. It's wow.
It is very true. Jeff, on October 28th, American ice hockey player Adam Johnson dies while playing for the Nottingham Panthers in England. I believe that's the guy who got his throat slashed with a skate.
Yeah, I believe the guy that did that is on trial right now.
That is correct. Yes, he's going to. They're trying to put him in jail, saying that he basically did it on purpose. And if you watch the play happen, it does look like he kicked his skate up to. Now I don't know if he's going to try to kill him and slash his throat, but he did wield that. And to me, that is something that just can't happen. And normally, I would say that they should stay out of it. The Jets fumbled the kickoff, and it looks like the Browns have recovered inside the Jet 20-yard line.
Nice.
Cleveland up 13-3 after missing the extra point. Now have the ball, and Cleveland fans are raucous. I have to tell you, I like these Browns uniforms with the white. It is actually not a bad uniform. It doesn't look like a Browns uniform, but it's actually a nice uniform.
What are they wearing? White, and orange?
It's a white helmet with an orange and black stripe, and it's white jerseys and white pants with looks like a brown stripe with orange on either side of it. It's actually, look it up. It's actually not a bad. It looks more like a college uniform, to be honest with you.
Every single white uniform this year looks like a college uniform.
I would agree with that, but it's not horrendous. Like, I would normally be all over stuff like this, but this actually doesn't look bad.
If I worked for the NFL, this would be what my uniforms would look like. Okay, you'd have 2 uniforms, home and away, never color rush, never Thursday night, never holiday, never Saturday, Friday, any other games. 2 uniforms. You'd have a dark jersey and white pants, a white jersey and dark pants. So if you were the home team and you chose to wear, you're the Jets and you're wearing green and white, green jersey, white pants. When you're on the road, green pants, white jersey, 1 helmet, whatever your main color is. Jets green, Giants blue. That's it.
I'm actually with you on that. I couldn't agree with you more on that.
Nobody else other than you would turn around and agree with me, because this is all just a fucking money grab. So that when Junior all of a sudden wakes up on Christmas morning and he's opening up 4 boxes looking for 3 different fucking jerseys from his favorite team, and mommy and daddy are out over $1,000 for some cloth, they don't understand.
100%. And to be honest with you, NHL's worse. You ever look at the NHL? I think they got like 5 or 6 different jerseys they wear.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's ridiculous. But, here's the problem. People buy them. So if you're going to buy them, they're going to keep putting them out there. They're going to give you different colors. They're going to give you different styles, and that's fine. To me, I think you should get one uniform, just like you said, one away, one home. And the best I would say is once a year you should be allowed to wear a classic throwback from your collection.
Yeah.
Other than that, you should not be coming up with all these crazy colors. But listen,
I agree.
November 1st, the Texas Rangers win the World Series for the first time in their franchise history, defeating the Arizona Diamondbacks. Let's see anything else sports-wise. December, Florida State undefeated regular season is controversially left off the college football playoffs. John Ram announces he's leaving the PGA Tour to join Live Golf. Shohei Ohtani announces that he is signing with the Los Angeles Dodgers, reportedly on a 10-year, $700 million contract, the largest deal in professional sports history. Jeff, having heard all of that, I give you my top 2 stories of the year in sports. Shohei Ohtani signing a $700 million deal, and Aaron Rodgers being traded and then subsequently getting hurt on the 4th play of the season. I think that is the 2 biggest news stories in all of sports for 2023. Would you agree? Do you have a different one?
Listen, a player signs a contract for almost $750 million. That's hard to.
Yeah, it changes the whole landscape of the sport. Regardless of how well he plays, he just changed. It's the next guy isn't going to get $700 million, but he's going to get closer to it than he would have before this one.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. And what would you place that above the Aaron Rodgers trade and injury? Would you think which one's the bigger story in your opinion?
Well, I think the guy getting that much money is a bigger story. I think that Aaron Rodgers getting injured on the 4th play is just same old Jets kind of shit.
Yeah.
And more of a comedy story of actually, biggest comedy story. Team trades everything, gets a player, gets deemed Super Bowl worthy, 4 plays in. That's it. What can be said?
Yeah, take a look at take a look at the message I just sent you. I need to know that so I can do something when you're done.
Okie dokie. That is.
Type it to me. All right, so guys, as Jeff looks up something for me, I will tell you that we're about to do the celebrity death list for 2023. In the meantime, I'll start off by saying thank you to all of you who have. Okay, just so I have the bell ready. So every year we do the show. We go through what's happening now. We talk about what's happened during the year, and of course, we want to thank all you guys because we do this. Actually, Jeff and I do this to talk to each other every week. We love doing it and all that, but it really has taken it to another level now that we have people who actually come on every week, like Frankie and. God forbid anything happens to me anytime soon, but if it does, I must.
Adam, if anything happens to you, yes. I promise you that every other name on the list will be yours, my friend.
I would tell you, Adam, let's hope that you and Frankie and Jeff and myself and Louie and all our people here are around to hear the name not be on the list for the next long time. So all I can say is thank you to all of you guys.
Keep on. Just get a drink of water. You'll be talking for a few.
Yeah. All right. So Jeff's going to come back. He'll start the list, and we'll do the list, and we'll do the Raider report, and then we'll call it a day. But in the meantime, I wanted to sit down and say, guys, I really do appreciate each of you guys who every week sit by us, almost every week, and watch along and comment along. It definitely makes the show better for us. We take it serious. We love doing it, but it's not a serious event. It's just 2 idiots sitting there chatting about what's on their mind. Sometimes we agree. Sometimes we disagree. We argue. We fight sometimes about it. When we leave the show, it never comes up again. We very rarely will ever take a comment like this off the air and talk about it further. We don't talk about the show before. We just come out here and do it, and we enjoy doing it. And it's just a lot of fun, and we'll do it again into next year. And until either we run out of things to talk about or you guys stop listening we'll keep doing this and bringing Thursday nights to you, and we do appreciate it, and I do mean that. In some ways, guys like Adam and certainly Frankie, who I know 40 years now, John Marhefka, so many people, Mike Weissman. There's a lot of you guys that I've never even met. We've never been in the same spot. And I consider you friends. If Adam was ever in this territory, I would hope he would reach out and let us know he's here. We go for dinner. If his band was playing, the Jets just turned it over. Cleveland's returning it. Looks like for a touchdown. It is now 19-7 Browns. The Jets are getting smacked. But there are a lot of people. Again, got Mike Weissman. When I'm in Florida next, I'm going to try to reach out to Mike and try to hook up with him and at least go over and shake hands and give a hug. But we really do appreciate it. We do count you guys as friends now, and we appreciate the support, and we want to make sure that we support you guys as well. Listen, Adam, if you get a gig out this way, I promise you, Jeff and I will roll up and be sitting there and be there front and center, and we promote it, and we'll try to drag a crowd out there with us and support you like you do every week for us. So again, not to get too sentimental, but I really do appreciate this. Is going to start the 10th year that I've done this. Jeff's been with me since the 4th episode of the show as a caller, as a part-time person on the show, and down to a full-time partner and co-host of the show with me. And again, I wouldn't do it without him, and I'm glad I get to do it with him, and I'm glad to get to do it with you guys. So I'll just say thank you all, and I'll turn the show over to Jeff. We can end the show with his list. We'll do his Raider report, and then I'll give Jeff a chance to say whatever he's got to say and call it a night. Yeah, Jeff, it's all yours.
All right. Just so we know, this was a very long list, and I just want to get on the right page. Not exactly the most sterling list. There's a lot of who's that, but they were actually somebody on the list. So
Okay.
That being said, where to start? But with number one, you ready?
Go ahead, Jeff.
David Crosby from Crosby, Stills and Nash and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Jeff Beck, Lisa Marie Presley, Cindy Williams, the woman from Laverne and Shirley.
Well, sure.
Yeah, Gina Lola Brigida,
Wow.
Carol Cook, Lisa Loring, the original Wednesday Addams. Okay, Fred White, drummer from Earth, Wind and Fire, C.J. Harris, Robbie Knievel, made a jump, missed a ramp, died. Well, he actually died of something else, but that's another story. Robbie Bachman, any idea where he comes from?
I would say Bachman Turner Overdrive.
There you go, man. You're smarter than you look. Don't let anybody
I'm
tell
telling
you.
you. That's it.
Okay. Dean Daughtry from the Atlanta Rhythm Section. Adam Rich from 8 is Enough. Also thought that 54 years old was enough and checked out. Ann Wershing. Lynette Hartleday. I can't read my own thing. Oh, yes. Lynette Hardway from Diamonds and Silk, a big duo
Sure.
that supported Trump. She's
Absolutely.
gone.
Yes.
Billy Packer did 34 years of college basketball in a row as an announcer.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesse, I can't even read my own writing. It's so bad. Lemania was supposed to try out for the USFL, failed in the NFL a couple times. Raquel Welch, we've all had to pull the Raquel once in a while. Burt Bacharach, Richard Seltzer, or Richard Belzer, Richard Seltzer.
Oh, Richard Belzer, yeah.
Yeah, you know who he is. Stella Stevens, Paco Rabanne. Remember what Dad smelled like in the 70s? No, that was because of Paco Rabanne. Kyle Jacobs, Gary Rossington, the last live original member of Lynyrd Skynyrd, is no more. Robert Blake, Willis Reed, Tom Sizemore. Did you know that Tom Sizemore has left the building?
I did know Tom Sizemore. A very good actor, maniac, but a really good actor.
Yeah. He liked a lot of things, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Joe Pepitone,
Yes.
Lance Reddick, Bobby Caldwell. You know who Bobby Caldwell is?
I know the basketball player Bobby Caldwell.
No, well, this was the singer Bobby Caldwell. When you get a chance, look up Bobby Caldwell. He was the only white man that sounded so black that even black people liked him because they thought he was black. Wayne Swimley. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce, read my own writing. The original guitar player from Saliva. Okay, here we go. There's a couple that you may remember. Bushwhacker Butch. He's no here.
Wow.
Jim Caldwell. Okay, from the basketball New York Knicks. Ryan Sawada from hockey. Mickey Slaughter, football. As we turn the page. Bobby Jean Carter. Nick and Aaron Carter's sister, leaving, I believe, only Nick is the only remaining Carter child left. That's not necessarily a bad thing, is it? Laura Lynch from the Dixie Chicks. Jim Ladd from Sirius Radio Deep Tracks. Colin Burgess, the original drummer from AC/DC. Andre Branger, I don't even know how you pronounce it. Actor, you've definitely seen him before.
Absolutely.
Camden Toy, actor. Anna Caldwell. Any idea who that is?
No.
That is Honey Boo Boo's sister.
Oh, that's right. Yes. My wife did tell me that. Yes.
Yeah. See what kind of impact it made on you?
Yeah.
I hear you. Same here. I forgot all about it too. Ryan O'Neal. He was responsible for killing Farrah.
Yes.
Too much of that backdoor stuff and anal warts, but whatever. Ellen Kelly. Andrea Faye Friedman. Any idea who she is?
I have no idea who that is.
She was an actress with Down syndrome. She was in one of those Down syndrome shows. Any idea now?
No idea, Jeff.
Yeah, me either. Ralph Sorella. You know who that is, right?
Yes, Howard Stern show. Yes.
Norman Lear. Norman Lear made every TV show in the 1970s.
Probably the greatest TV producer, creator of all time. If you think about the shows he created, and not only how great they were, but how impactful they were and groundbreaking, Norman Lear is at the top of the list. But go ahead.
Hard to fucking, good God.
Yeah.
You look that up. Tell me if you can't name 25 of them.
Oh my God. Tell me you haven't watched all 25 of them.
Yeah, I hear you. Denny Lane, co-founder of the Moody Blues and Wings. Could you imagine being the co-founder of the Moody Blues and of Wings with Paul McCartney?
Wow. Interesting. And I never heard of him. Wow.
No, listen, the Moody Blues, unless you're into them, you're never going to know much about them. And Wings, it's all Paul McCartney and Wings.
That's it.
Shane McGowan from the Pogues, basically only famous for Irish folk rock, which we really don't listen to on this side of the world. And he also did a song, Christmas Time in New York.
That's correct. Yes. Very, very, very interesting song. Yes.
Yeah. I actually tried to listen to it last week during Christmas, thinking that maybe I could get into it. I lasted 35 seconds.
Exactly. Yes.
Frances Sternhagen, Cliff's mom from Cheers. Okay. You definitely, really? You definitely seen her in other stuff too.
Absolutely.
Okay? Then we go to the next page. Jean Knight. She sang Mr. Big Stuff. You heard that song.
Yes.
Okay. Marty Croft from Croft and not Croft and Seals, not Seals and Crofts, but from the guys that made the puppets, HR Puff and stuff.
Oh, great stuff. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh yeah. My God. Great show. Go ahead.
Mars Williams from the Psychedelic Furs. Suzanne Shepard. Any idea who Suzanne Shepard is?
No idea.
Henry Hill's mother-in-law from Goodfellas.
Wow. Yeah. Did you consider that a celebrity?
She was on the list.
All right. We can't discount the list.
George Funky Brown. I'm gonna let you get a go at this one.
No idea who George Funky Brown is.
He was the drummer for Kool and the Gang.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. Matty Perry. You know Matty Perry from Friends.
Yes, Matthew Perry. Yep. Just overdosed.
Supposedly took, what is it, ketamine or whatever the fuck it was.
Had a large amount of ketamine. Sober for 9 months, they said ketamine in his system.
Yeah. And then went to go lay in the pool.
Yeah.
Anyway, Richard Marle from Night Court.
Bull. Yes, sure. Great show. Great character.
Richard Roundtree, too many white women to his name, from Shaft. Suzanne Summers, Burt Young, Dick Buttkiss.
Yes.
So look at that. You have definitely matured. 30 years ago, you would have been crying over that one.
Yeah, we were podcast. Yeah.
Terry Kirkman from the band The Association.
Oh, okay.
Did one of those songs like it's Wendy or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. One. I don't know if they're one hit wonder, but definitely not a lot of hits.
Yeah. Jack Sony from Dire Straits. Jimmy Buffett. Steve Hardwell from Smash Mouth. Here's one. Gary Wright. Any of you want to take a guess on who Gary Wright is?
I have no idea who Gary Wright is.
Oh, he sang the song Dreamweaver.
Oh, really?
Kids, yeah. He will not be going back out on tour this time around. Bob Barker pushed it to almost 100.
Wow.
Got out of there. Bray Wyatt from wrestling.
Oh, yeah. Young. He was young, passed away
Yeah,
too, I think.
36. Herska Paraday. I don't know what this means, but it says LHOTP. Sorry to hear about your passing. Terry Funk.
Oh, legend.
Yeah, Ray Hildebrand from the group Paul and Paula. He forgot he was Paul, forgot all about Paula. He died of dementia. Robbie Robinson from the band.
Yeah. Wow.
John Fosling, keyboards, The Kinks. Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman.
Wow.
Sinead O'Connell,
Yeah.
Tony Bennett.
Yes.
George Ticker. You any idea who he? I might even be wrong. It looks like Ticker. That's what I'm going with. The original guitar player from Journey.
You got me on that one.
What's that?
And yeah, you got me on that one. I'm a Journey fan. Never heard of George Ticker.
Oh, listen, that don't mean he was ever on anything worthwhile either. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, very true.
Pat Robinson from the 700 Club.
Oh, wow.
Bubba, a.k.a. the Iron Sheik. Maybe some of the best one-liners I've ever heard in my life. I still sit when his Instagram posts come up and cry because
Absolutely.
I'm laughing so hard.
Absolutely. Yes. One of the greats in front of one of the greatest wrestlers of all time and one of the great speakers of the wrestling world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Tina Turner.
Oh, wow.
Now she's running for Mike in the afterlife. Andy Rourke, bass player for the Smiths. Jim Brown. Gordon Lightfoot. I'm going to give you another one, Tom. See if you know who this is. Tim Bachman. Tim Bachman.
Tim Bachman. Nope, don't know who Tim Bachman is.
Oh, then I guess you really don't know Bachman Turner Overdrive. It claimed the one.
Wow. Okay.
Jerry Springer.
Yes.
Harry Belafonte.
Wow. This is some list you got.
Yeah, and we still got 1, 2, 2.5, 3 pages left.
Wow, look at you. Go ahead.
Ginny Newhart. Any idea who that is?
Ginny Newhart. No.
Saw Bob Newhart naked. It was his wife.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. Lassie Wellender, the guitar player for ABBA. Keith Reed from Procol Harum. Barbara Basson from Hill Street Blues. If you saw a picture of her, you definitely know who she was.
Okay. Yeah. I'm wasn't a huge Hill Street Blues fan, but I watched it.
Oh, you would know who she is. Have you seen her? Look her name up. She was old, too. I think she was like well into her 80s, almost 90 when she died.
Wow.
Van Connor, bass player for the band Screaming Trees. Randy Meisner, another bass player for the Eagles. Bernie Madsen played with Whitesnake,
Yes.
helped write a lot of their songs. Steve Riley, from the drummer from Wasp and a few other bands that he was in. Looked like he was a ghoul from Scooby-Doo. Anthony Topham from the Yardbirds. Bruce Gower had something to do with Queen's the original video of Bohemian Rhapsody. Michael Cuppa from Running Wild. Joshua Madsen. Any idea who Joshua Madsen is and why he may have been on the list other than that he's dead?
No idea.
He was in a band called Artillery. Any other reason why he may be on the list?
No idea.
Well, he had the coolest way of going out. He got hit by a bus.
Wow. You don't hear about that too often, Jeff.
No, you usually see them coming. Jim Gordon from Derek and the Dominoes. Seymour Stein. He had a hand in helping the Ramones, the Talking Heads, The Cure, and Madonna make it big.
Wow. Seymour.
John Reagan had something to do with Ace Frehley. Here's one. This is a good one, man. This is a little trivia for you with this one. I'm going to ask you this one in segments, and I guarantee you're not going to be able to answer any of it.
Okay.
Okay, first question. Kirk Arrington, any idea who he is?
Kirk Arrington, no idea.
Okay, he was the original drummer for Metal Church.
Okay.
Did you know that every singer that he ever recorded with has died?
I did not know that, no.
Yes. Now for the bonus question.
Yeah.
Could you name either Metal Church singer who's no longer here with us?
Is it not Ronnie Monroe?
No, but if I was Ronnie Monroe and I recorded with Kurt Arrington.
Yeah. I don't know. I do know, but I don't know.
All right. It's David Wayne, who died in 2005, and Mike Howe, who died in 2021.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that was on you. He was on your dead list then. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Mark Adams from St. Vitus, bass player. James Harvey from Goat Whore. Who came up with that name, Goat Whore? What band are you in? Goat Whore.
Oh.
Okay, it makes sense. What kind of stuff do you do? Easy listening. Miles Goodwin. Any idea, Tom? You know this one?
No idea who Miles Goodwin is.
April Wine.
Wow. I would tell you I'm not the biggest April Wine fan, but I do know who the band is.
Okay, I'm going to skip one of these on the list because I'm going to do it last on this part of the list. Tom Smothers tried to sneak in past us, Tommy, but we got you.
You got him
yesterday, but you want to listen today. Rosalind Carter.
Ah, yes, former first lady.
As everybody else combined on the fucking list.
Shit, very true.
Okay, now I'm going to give you. This is a fucking question.
Go
all
ahead.
right. The man's name is Chad Allen. He played in the band Guess Who and another band. Tom, if you could tell me who this band is, I promise you I will take you to the restaurant of your choice next Saturday night. Me, you and the wives, however you want to do it, and I pay for everything, as well as dance there in my underwear. But you got to guess right.
Chad Allen.
You have 3 seconds.
I would tell you I have no idea who Chad Allen is.
Well, I will tell you, your time is up. The name of the band, Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Wow. So you did not want to be a member of Bachman Turner Overdrive this year.
You don't want to play with Kurt Arrington on record if you're a singer, and you definitely did not want to be, if there's anybody left of Bachman Turner Overdrive this year.
The whole thing, were they in one big car crash we just didn't hear about it? Did the tour bus get sliced?
That would at least say, like, wow, but no, this seems like they all decided to check out at different times.
The contract must have expired, and it was to deal with the devil. All right, You guys will make you a real band. You'll make money, and then in 2023, you're all done.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're coming around the bend.
Let me ask you this question. We'd have to look this up someday. Has any band lost 3 members in the same year ever? Other than like a plane crash, they can't count Skinner. Like they lost the whole band. I'm talking about
Skinner.
Yeah, it'd have to be something. Has any other band ever lost 3 of its members? And I'm sure Bachman Turner Overdrive hasn't been active in years. But has any band ever had this happen before? Because I can't imagine this has ever happened before.
No, I can't say that this has ever happened before.
This is a very strange one. But okay, so again, if you've ever been a member of the Bachman Turner Overdrive group, please stay in your house and have a doctor on hand at all times.
Yeah, really, you should be hooked up to a defibrillator or whatever.
Remember, the year still got 3 days left.
if you could, yeah, if you could prove that you were from Bachman Turner Overdrive without contacting one of these guys, contact the show. We'd love to talk to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and think about it. You could probably grab all the royalties at this point because there's nobody
There
left.
isn't any more Bachman Turner Overdrive royalties available.
Oh, if there is, you're definitely entitled to have them. So.
You know, I got to tell you, I have a couple Bachman Turner Overdrive songs in my phone,
Right.
and well, they weren't exactly churning out the hits. I have Mississippi Queen as a copy.
Okay.
Here's an order. The second album from 1973, which I actually remember when the songs came out, Let It Ride and Taking Care of Business. And then one in 1974, You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, and then Sledgehammer, which actually came out May 1st. It says 1973. And then the other one came out January 1st, 1973. And I only see 4 people on the album cover, which leads me to believe that the fourth is in hiding, maybe
Well,
in
I'll tell you what. Hold on.
somewhere.
I will give you the list of Bachman Turner Overdrive members. So the current members, and this is members who are present in the band because they are still active. Randy Bachman was Fred Turner, Mick Dalavie, Ty Bachman, Mark LaFrance, and Brent Howard Knudsen are all active members. Officially in the band were Robbie Bachman, Tim Bachman. Now, I wonder if Bachmans are actually like the Ramones, where it's kind of a made-up name, or they were actually all brothers or cousins, but yeah. So there was Robbie Bachman, Tim Bachman, Blair Thornton, Jim Clench, Gary Peterson, Billy Chapman, and Randy Murray were all past members of the band Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Yeah, well, they certainly ain't coming back for a reunion tour. That's for damn sure.
I would say if you're still one of the guys active and alive, do yourself a favor and hide in the house with a doctor close by.
Yeah, contact an ambulance too.
Look at this. Oddly enough, Festa opened up for Bachman Turner Overdrive back in 2001 at a rib festival. Well, over 3 hours before they went on, that counts, right? Yes, it does, Adam. But Adam, I got to be honest with you. I actually got to tell you, please take care of yourself now because you may be infected with whatever they have because it seems like they're all passing away at the same time. So be careful.
Really.
Could have been maybe the rib sauce or maybe the ribs were bad. We're not sure, but do us a favor, Adam. Stay close to a doctor for a while.
Stay away from the honey sauce. Don't get any on your biscuit, man.
Go ahead, Jeff. Finish up your list so we can close this show out.
All right, so we got a few more. Superstar Billy Graham.
One of the first wrestlers I ever followed.
Leapin' Lanny Poffo.
The poet.
Darren the Drozdoff.
By the way, he may be one of the top 3 or 4 worst characters ever in the WWE, WWF.
I would say.
Along with the Red Rooster and a few others. We'll maybe make that a conversation down the road. Go ahead.
Teresa Taylor, a member of the Butthole Surfers.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Marshall Tucker himself.
Wow.
Someone that has touched my life and tried to touch something of mine, but I said no. And that was my personal doctor, Dr. Jeffrey Tambor. I wanted to just throw him on the list. A little
celebrity
in my world, but gone but not forgotten. And then the last name on the list, I saved this for last because there's an affiliation with the show. And he has a video that he sent us, one last video. The one, the only Dom Jinta. Dom, if I may, you still missed off of this show every day, every week. You weren't on like you once were at one point, but you were still with us and still are to this day, man. We miss you on the show, and we miss everything that you used to bring with the radio report. We could never rip on anybody else like we ripped on you because of your radio reports and how serious you did them. You knew your shit. You did your homework, but there was nothing better than saying butt pirate when you were in the middle of making a point. That is the list for 2023. And goodbye, people. You know what I mean? What more could you say?
Nothing. As we say goodbye to those who've passed, including our dear friend, Mr. Dominic Jinter. Please we'll take a moment to recognize and have remembrance. And of course, as the count of 10 signifying the end, we certainly don't ever want to forget all the people on the list, those we knew and those we didn't. And of course, Jeff's personal doctor, and of course, our buddy, the half man. You will be missed greatly. And it's just our way, kind of a touching tribute, but in our own funny way. Not to demean anybody, but it's something we do every year, and it's kind of our way of remembering all of those who've passed. So thank you for indulging us. We do appreciate it. But not to forget, we do have to play, to honor Dominic, we are going to play what I believe is going to be the final ever Raider Report. Is that correct, Jeff?
Time will tell.
All right, well, let's play this year's final Raider Report and see if it makes it back next year. Hold on 1 second before we end the show.
Hey, boys, it's me, Dom Ginter. Well, I'm back to normal, back to the way that I should be, except I have a Raiders eye patch now. You can't have everything in life, and even though that I'm not here anymore and I can't witness the Raiders winning anything in person, I'll always be able to watch from above. I had fun this season, even though I wasn't with you. I'm going to continue to do the Raider Report, even if it's in my own mind. I want to wish everyone here a happy, healthy holiday season, and thank you for remembering me. I'll always remember the times that I had there. I tell Jesus about them all the time, although he shushes me and chases me out of the office. Well, it's time to go. I got to go break balls on Ben Franklin. I'll catch you guys later. Stay safe and have a good New Year. Later.
I want to say, you know what, guys? I hope everybody knows how Jeff and I feel about Dom. We poke fun him. We always did. Some of the most classic episodes of this show were Dominic falling asleep, Dominic wearing the Raider helmet on the show, all the stuff that goes with it, and how we celebrate Dom in his passing is how we celebrate him in life, and that's breaking his balls. And I think Dom would appreciate the fact that even though he's not here, we don't change how we treated him. We loved him dearly. I consider him not only a dear friend, but we were related through marriage. I consider him my own cousin. But I broke his balls. Jeff broke his balls. They broke each other's balls. And that's how we want to remember Dominic. And I think anything less than that would be doing a disservice and be disrespectful to Dominic, because that's how we grew up. That's how we established our friendship together.
Yeah. Yeah, very true, man. And it was almost like he was there.
Yep.
From everything that we said and did, and we didn't mean it in a disrespectful way. Yep. We just had fun with it. We used to ask him to dress up as an elf if we could have had a dwarf tossing contest and shit. But listen, Dom, you're one of the people that are left behind in 2023. That will make that year special for all of us. And it's a shame, man. You can't take everybody to the next year with you. 1 year will be left behind too. And unfortunately, 2023, we left Dom behind. We'll always remember Dom. We'll always remember a lot of the people on that list. They were people that touched our lives for the most part in one way or another. And it's our way to say, thank you for
Yeah.
what you did and providing us with entertainment and things to talk about for years later. A lot of good people on that list, a lot of people maybe who we didn't know on that list, but they all shaped our lives one way or another. And it's a shame
Right.
that anybody has to be on the list, but the one thing we know is that we ain't getting out of here alive.
That's it. It couldn't be said better. But guys, like I said, we thank you all for tuning in each week with us. And if you're a part-time guy or a full-timer, we appreciate anybody who stops by even for a minute. All the people who like the show, put up their emojis or whatever. We couldn't thank you more. So listen, guys. Final time. Thank you all for tuning in for the year and tonight. And thank you for for coming back to us next year, hopefully. And to my partner, my brother, my best bud, Jeff, thank you, pal, for another great year in the show. And I look forward to 2024 and getting into our 10th year. So I wish you and your wife a happy new year. And I'll definitely talk to you well before that. But right here on the air, I say I love you and happy new year to you both.
Same here, Tom. Thank you, man. It means a lot to have you in my life.
Absolutely. I agree. And thanks to all of you guys, and great to have you all in our life. So for Jeff and myself and everybody here at Hard Rocket Sports, thank you. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week, a great weekend, a safe and happy new year to all of you. And Jeff and I will see you back here next Thursday night with the first show of 2024. We'll ring the bell in and start off with a great year. Lots to talk about already. Hopefully, Jeff won't have to amend the dead list like he did last year. He had to open the show last year, amending the dead list. But hopefully we won't have to do that. In the meantime, please enjoy your weekend. Lots of great football. You got Odd Couple marathons. You got the Honeymoon Marathon. You got the Twilight Zone Marathon. Lots of stuff on TV. Stay home. Stay safe. Drink it up. Have one for me and Jeff. And we'll see you guys next Thursday night. Jeff, I will talk to you after the air.
Tommy, be good, man. And please, to you and Edie, Happy New Year to you and your parents.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we have a better year than we had this year, huh? And we had
absolutely. And we did have a good year, and we'll have a better one next year. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, Adam and Joe and Frankie and Louie and everybody else. Thanks all, guys. We'll see you guys. Be safe for New Year's.
Later.
Hey, guys.